Moving, the number of moves in New York City increased by 46.3% between March 15th and August 15th, compared to the same time last year.
The company says most people are moving to suburban counties surrounding New York City. Attorneys pleading to stop 2 federal executions next week, as Fox's Jack Callahan reports.
Hoping to stop their client's scheduled execution, attorneys for Keith Nelson claim that an autopsy on an inmate executed in federal prison last month showed signs that Wesley Perky probably felt like he was drowning, as the execution drug rendered him unable to move or speak and was therefore unconstitutionally cruel. Nelson is set for a lethal injection next Friday for the 1999 rape and murder of a 10-year-old Kansas girl. And the U.S. Supreme Court will consider a plea from Lesmond Mitchell to stop his execution Wednesday. He claims the jurors who convicted him were biased against Native Americans. Jack Callahan, Fox News.
And a brand new giant panda cub is sparking pandemic-fueled pandemania, and officials at the National Zoo in D.C. say traffic on their live stream spiked 1,200% over the past week. I'm Joe Chio, Fox News.
Publicists everywhere agreed this week that the nation's celebrities are in dire need of more fame, stressing that all 6 billion of the world's populace should know every U.S. celebrity by name and face by now. Publicists are calling for an emergency influx of buzz, heat, press, and word of mouth to be administered to the nation's celebrities immediately in order to prevent crucial fame levels from becoming dangerously low. Novelist Edward Milligan told reporters this week that in his new book, By the Water's Edge, he has fleshed out in meticulous detail his own huge and stunningly shitty world. Using in-depth research and the power of his own imagination, Milligan was able to conjure out of thin air every hackneyed character, trite street name, and horseshit backstory in the fictional town of Connors Cove. The complete hack proudly said he has created a universe that readers will feel they can actually reach out and touch. Sources say the prolific writer has not yet been punched repeatedly in the face. In other news, McDonald's opens a new senior citizen play place.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Yes, welcome to Free Talk Live. You, as always, are invited to join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Should you wish to bring up anything that you want to discuss, you can do that here. Take control of the airwaves on Free Talk Live. With you tonight, it's Ian.
Me, Captain.
And Mark.
And on the way here tonight, is 100% really 100%? Well, the government's claiming now, and at least here in our home state of New Hampshire, that restaurants can now open at 100% capacity. But is that really true? We can tell you more about that on the way. But, Captain, you had a story to start us out with here tonight. What is it?
Well, this is from Syracuse.com. The headline reads, New New York State rule bans ticketed music events at bars. Subquote, this is devastating. So with the sort of reopening of stuff, certain performances have occurred.
Right. Musical
performances specifically, but other small theatrical performances.
We talked about Sturgis here on the air a couple of weeks ago or something like that, and the liberals were all in a kerfuffle because Sturgis was occurring. This is
super spreader
event, and
now they're all in a kerfuffle. Apparently, at least from some of the headlines I've seen, because somebody had COVID and they've left the state or something like that.
Wait, you mean they came from out of state to attend a giant party and then left when they were done?
Yeah.
Oh, who expected that?
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, a new wrinkle in New York State's coronavirus guidelines for bars, restaurants, and similar venues prohibits them from offering live music that customers pay for separately. It seems
so you can have a band in your bar.
Right, but you can't sell tickets for it.
Yes.
So you can't get a good band.
It has to be an incidental performance. We'll get to that in the article in a minute. But it seems to have suddenly popped up in the rules this week. So somehow it wasn't in the rules before, but all of a sudden it's there this week somehow.
Well, somebody was probably planning on having a concert, in whatever bar, and some snitch contacted the government gang,
course.
And then they decided to put a stop to that.
What it means is that no events where patrons buy tickets to see a performance can go on. It also appears to ban events with cover charges. So if it's like Friday night at your favorite bar and they're like, yeah, $5 cover, $10 cover, whatever it is, apparently that's a no-no as well.
I've gone to bars that have cover charges that don't have a band at all.
Mm-hmm. Right. It also prohibits venues from advertising live entertainment. So let's just say you've got, Country Bob and his acoustic guitar that will appear on your stage at your small little venue, at your little divey bar. You can't advertise that.
Hold on. So whether or not it's ticketed, you can't advertise any kind of music happening at all.
Okay.
So nobody free can come and just perform for free. They can come and perform for free. You just can't promote the fact that they're going to be there.
They can come and perform whether it's free or for pay.
Right. They can get paid to perform.
It's just you can't charge for a ticket price.
So you could have Elton John at your bar.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a big draw up. Sorry.
Yeah, that would do it.
Sorry, folks.
Elton John would do it.
Elton John at your bar, and
you can't tell anyone.
You can't tell anybody, right? Like you can pay him whatever he wants to get paid, which I suspect is a sizable amount.
Right, which is why I said now that they're going to ban ticketed events, it's going to be very hard to actually get anyone who's like big to show up and play anywhere because you normally have to raise money for that sort of thing by selling tickets.
This essentially removes all incentive for anybody to have any live performance of any kind.
For the most part, yeah.
Well, I think it kind of gives some level of incentive for the smallest of performers. So basically, you as a consumer of live music would know that, this is the sort of bar that's going to have live music, so you may go there to hope to find something to listen to or whatever.
Without any advertisement, you can't check it out in advance.
Right, you're certainly not going to get,
Can the band themselves actually promote where they're going to be?
Well, bands are probably able to get away with more.
I would guess that, like limited social media type stuff on like the band's page, or their website or their email list, that kind of a thing. But the venue itself, no, not according to this. The rule, which was posted in the Q&A format in the State Liquor Authority website, does allow what it calls incidental live music at venues that have permits for it. So you have to have a permit for this, incidental music.
Like a cabaret license or something? Is that what this is?
I believe so.
Okay.
This means that advertised and or ticketed shows are not permissible, the SLA guidelines say. Music should be incidental to the dining experience and not the draw itself.
Which, dining experience.
Which, of course, flies in the face of any venue that's like, we're a live performance venue.
Yeah.
And then we happen to serve booze and have some, deep fried stuff in the back, in case you...
Come on down to our live performance venue.
And foos.
Where we have...
Food and foos.
Where we have drinks, and we can't tell you what else.
You remember, the better you drink, the more we sound.
Mm-hmm.
These are wise words from a drunken musician.
We suspect Elton John may show up.
There's a chance.
Now, there used to be a thing where some of these, the more famous musicians, even like the B-list musicians, would do these secret shows. Right?
Sure.
And what they would do is they would rebrand themselves as some, odd-named band or some odd-named independent artist or whatever, and then folks would show up, somehow it would leak out and people would show up and kind of know, but mostly whoever showed up wouldn't know, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's the guy from this band or whatever, that kind of a thing, and they would do a secret show. And that was fun. This, however, doesn't sound fun.
This doesn't sound fun at all.
No.
It does remind me of the Metallica secret show that the guys in jail, when I was in jail for civil disobedience, told me it was like in the 1990s when they were, in their big, hitting it big kind of time.
Was it Spastic Children?
What?
The guys in jail?
The rename of their secret show.
Oh,
Did
I
they
don't know.
advertise
I don't
it
know.
as Spastic Children?
I didn't get that detail, but they showed up and actually played, I think it was at the fairgrounds here in Keene. It was one of those unannounced shows. I don't know how the word got out, but people went and they saw Metallica play here in little old Keene, New Hampshire.
Okay, because Metallica once went on stage. Early in their days, they once went on stage and called themselves Spastic Children. And they came out on stage wearing nothing but one sock.
Okay.
I'll let you imagine
they were totally naked?
Where the one sock was placed, of course.
That's pretty spastic.
So, little known trivia that floats around in the captain's brain.
Gotcha.
Anyway, many bars, restaurants, venues that had begun scheduling such events in recent weeks since
Canceled.
the reopening were taken by surprise.
Yep.
Surprise!
Hey, you're in New York.
It's government. Here, have some. News of the new rules made the
Taken in the
rounds.
biblical sense.
Right. News of the new rules made the rounds amongst musicians and venue operators on Tuesday. This is devastating, said Julie Leone, co-owner of the 443 Social Club and Lounge on Burnett Avenue in Syracuse. The 443 had only reopened in the past 2 weeks.
Damn.
This effectively shuts me down again, she said. People in the entertainment industry say it's especially frustrating because it seemed to come out of nowhere. It's absolutely cruel, said Syracuse musician Colin Aberdeen, who has only recently started playing live gigs again. They've been dangling the idea that these venues can reopen, and then arbitrarily and randomly, they take it away. I mean, I'm not all for safety protocols. Or he says, I'm all for safety protocols, but they have to make sense. Why would they do this? So this is a musician crying out.
Right. Well, everybody's trying to take the reasonable approach here. And look, I'm almost done with reasonable, but I'm not prone to conspiracy theories. So I'm not going to say that this is so. But if you were going to design a way to destroy small business and promote big corporations in America,
this would have
been the way that you should do it. Yeah. Effectively.
And this promotes big corporations how? Because like a huge venue isn't considered a bar, and so this isn't affecting them?
Netflix is doing just fine, is what I would say. Is that if you look at the biggest of corporations in America, their bottom lines have increased dramatically during COVID. Okay. Versus mom and pop organizations.
But does this affect any music venue or only bars that have live music?
That is a great question.
The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. Because if you could still have, like, the mega stadium event...
Of course you can't do that. Yeah.
You're saying you can't do that? Okay, because it had said it was bars earlier.
Sure, but you can't do that anyway.
Okay.
Right now.
Nobody's
going to concerts.
Well, I don't know if that's true. They've been having these so-called drive-in shows outside in some places. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. This is Free Talk Live.
Do you want more businesses accepting Bitcoin Cash and Dash? Now with AnyPay, you earn passive income for every purchase at those businesses. Finally, a financial incentive to spread Bitcoin Cash and Dash. You made it happen, so you get the rewards. Download the AnyPay Cash Register app and add your cryptocurrency wallet addresses. Then install it at a real-life business and tell us what you did at anypayinc.com. anypayinc.com.
News from news.bitcoin.com. Chinese banks limit customers' ability to buy gold. Chinese flooding and potential dam collapse threatens many Bitcoin operations. Withdrawals from crypto exchanges increase, indicating perhaps more people are holding their coin for themselves. Tentative agreement met to stabilize Bitcoin Cash mining in conjunction with the currency's third birthday. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies, getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com.
Bear, the rescue dog, had very flaky skin, dropping a lot of fur, and Levette wanted to do steroid injections. I was at a dead end.
DINOVITE.com.
Probably 6 weeks after we started using Dinovite, no more flaky skin. He doesn't scratch and itch. It was awesome.
You get some Dinovite, how happy your dog will be.
Every rescue dog in America deserves Dinovite for 90 days.
DINOVITE.com.
Divi's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divi's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to diviproject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from diviproject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. diviproject.org. DIVI project.org.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can't do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring Simon to the rally.
Walk with me.
Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa. Hey.
Who do you think you are?
Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't going to make it.
Wait a minute.
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable! Why are you running from me? Because you scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this?
Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191.
How many lawyers does it take to change a light bulb? None. They'd rather keep their clients in the dark. There are too many lawyer jokes to count. However, there are some lawyers with more noble intentions. At the Institute for Justice, we bring the light to our clients. We are a non-profit public interest law firm with clear values and principles. At IJ, we fight for those whose most basic rights are denied by the government. Visit our website today at ij.org.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can take control of the airwaves. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. Here in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
Me, Captain.
And me, Mark.
Want to make sure you know about Divvy. It is a relatively new, easy-to-use cryptocurrency that we've been promoting here on Free Talk Live, and between mid-March and mid-July of this year, Divvy increased in value by over 10 times. Now, it could continue to go up. That's certainly the intention of the folks who are creating Divvy and working on their brand new wallet that has yet to be released publicly. But it was the release of their beta wallet that happened to coincide with the 10x jump in price. So will Divvy continue to go up? Well, we don't know. But at Free Talk Live, we're happy with our decision to hook up with Divvy a year ago. You can go to divvyproject.org and begin earning Divvy by starting a masternode or staking Divvy. You can even enter their lottery for people who stake the coin as well. Go to divvyproject.org to get started, divvyproject.org. Apparently, Captain, you're reading the story about New York State cracking down on bar owners who are wanting to have live music, to, try to attract people to leave their homes and come out and drink something.
Or eat, even.
Or, yeah, right.
Yeah, to pay inflated costs for food and alcohol.
And they're now being told they are not allowed to have ticketed events, that music should only be, quote, incidental to the dining experience and not the draw itself. So it's not prohibited to have someone playing music at your bar.
Right.
You just simply cannot ticket the event, meaning you cannot charge people specifically for the music.
Right.
And you also apparently cannot promote the fact that you have a certain person playing there.
And you can't charge cover.
Correct. And apparently there's a little bit more to this. And I know you may have more from your story, but I've got the actual guidelines here from the Department
let's have it.
Liquor Authority, sla.ny.gov. This is one more point that I'm not sure is mentioned in your story. All other forms of live entertainment, such as exotic dancing, comedy shows, karaoke, etc., are not permissible, regardless of the phase.
Right.
So you can't. You can have a guy playing some music. You can't have a guy telling jokes.
He can't tell a joke.
Government has prohibited entertainment.
That's right.
Live entertainment, the oldest form of entertainment ever to humanity. Government has effectively prohibited it.
And it says that it is not permissible under any what do they call these phase? So they have these different reopening phases. Yeah. Under no phase is the comedy show acceptable. Under no phase.
So it's strange. You could wear a mask and do comedy. right? Like you could have one of those masks that has a cone sort of around your face so that you can move your lips freely. You can be close enough to an amplified microphone that you will be audible. But the biggest problem is it sort of muffles the airwaves coming out of your mouth. But the microphone
Well,
doesn't
there's
have
a lot
that
of
issue.
problems with masks. That's only one of them.
Right. I'm talking about in being heard. And so, I mean, if you wanted to tell jokes, you could wear a mask and tell jokes.
Not
Perhaps,
in New York. You can't do that.
Yeah, well, is it the state, right? Not the city.
This is appearing to be the New York state government
Yeah, the
rules.
SLA is the state liquor authority.
Well, and well, maybe they should just have they have the governor go back on and beg people to stay.
And that's why they're going after the bars here, because it's the liquor authority. So, again, it's not clear whether this applies to massive corporate kind of venues or whatever.
Well, I
don't
can't
know.
imagine they would allow a
Probably not.
stadium to fill up with people for, X performer, right? Somebody who can draw and fill a stadium or an arena or something like that.
Probably
I
not.
imagine that is also somewhere else in the coronavirus crackdown, as it were, the government's overreaction to all of this crap. I would imagine that those things are prohibited, which is why we see people trying to be creative and doing things like these drive-in concerts and drive-in comedy shows and that kind of a thing in other places. And also, keep in mind that while we are talking, this article talks specifically about New York State, it's not the only place this is happening.
Oh, really?
I
wouldn't be surprised.
The lockdown originally effectively ended live music, theater, comedy, stand-up comedy, sports, right? Now everybody, there's baseball and like the NFL is going to, okay, or is it? Like, we don't know. We don't know how it's going to be effective. The NFL is talking about having the season with no fans.
That's right. Yeah, cardboard fans or whatever.
Yeah, they're going to pipe in like some sort of
generated.
ambient white noise so that you don't hear the players cussing as they attack each other.
Don't forget the...
I know, it's ridiculous, man.
Well, don't forget the local sports teams. Those things are basically shut down.
Done.
Yeah, shut down.
There's no bowling leagues. There's no dart leagues, right?
I heard the bowling alley's closed.
Is it?
That's what I heard. I heard that here in Keene, Chris Wade, our Friday night co-host, lives right across the street from it.
Yeah.
So he sees there's nobody over there. It's closed. I mean, they haven't even closed off one out of every other 2 lanes or whatever. They've closed it. The whole place hasn't reopened yet.
Yeah. The only place in Keene that has a large stage, I'm trying to remember the name of it, it's over by the credit union. It's attached to the hotel, but it's got an Irish name. It's like Mick something
I know
or whatever. I don't think that they've reopened. I haven't looked into it since the last few weeks or so.
Well, a guy that has a dance floor in his club/bar was told he's not allowed to have dancing.
Right.
So,
again, the plot to Footloose.
Yeah, it's happening again.
Yeah.
This has happened before. Bans on dancing are not a new thing. It's
Right.
just you thought we were done with those.
You
in
thought,
the 21st
that only
century.
happens in Utah or something, right?
Or 200 years ago or
Right.
something like that. But no, it's here again.
When did they tell you that the bowling alley was closed?
Last night.
Okay. Says that they're reopening on June 15th.
Okay.
See hours below.
Maybe they did reopen.
That's just the website. You never know.
Yeah. I don't know. They may not pay that close of attention. This is what they thought.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's reopened, but no one's going there. I don't know.
It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, at this point, folks have been scared by the media, too scared to do much of anything. I know for a fact, just riffing on the NFL bit, that the Green Bay Packers, for example, who have a waiting list for season tickets that spans more than 30 years.
Jesus.
Right? 80% of the fans, when they were surveyed by the organization before they were going to decide what they were going to do about fans this year, 80% of the season ticket holders opted out of attending.
So sad.
Right. This is
Pathetic.
a team that is infamous for its diehard fan base. Again, the waiting list is insane. No other sports team, period, that I'm aware of has a wait list for season tickets that's 30 freaking years. So, yeah, it's an interesting time that we live in. People have effectively
It's a pathetic
been scared.
time. It's pathetic. People are really sad, and so easily influenced by these government goons and these authoritarian doctor types.
Agreed.
It's depressing.
Plenty of doctors are out there saying, giving advice contrary to sort of what the the government's doing.
Yeah, but if you post about it on social media, it gets taken down immediately.
It's amazing. I mean, like, being a doctor doesn't make one an expert in this.
Just somebody with an opinion.
And then we listen to the particular. I don't even understand why.
Well, they have an authoritarian demeanor, so they're being presented by the government, so they're more important doctors than your doctor is.
Yeah, they're the chosen doctor.
855-450 free, like freedom. We got more on the way here about live music. Sorry, New Yorkers, you're going to have to travel here to New Hampshire, I guess, if you want to see any kind of music. There are some concerts. These drive-in things are being done here in this area. More coming up. This is Free Talk Live.
Got shaving irritation? Shave Secret shaving oil can help stop it. Shave Secret doesn't cost much and is an all-American product. My name is Chuck Howard, and I developed Shave Secret and pioneered its use starting back in 1991. Ingrown hairs drove me nuts for years. Shaving oil changed all that. Why put up with ingrown hair, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts? Shave Secret provides men and women with what we believe is the best shave ever. Our proprietary blend of 100% natural base and essential oils plus a hint of menthol was designed to help eliminate shaving irritations like ingrown hairs, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts. We'll lose those shaving irritations. Available at Super Walmart, H-E-B, Wegmans, Giant Eagle, Discount Drug, Navy and Marine Exchanges, Amazon, and ShaveSecret.com. Use the code FTL for Free Talk Live and get a discount. Shave Secret, the best shave ever.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Dial in, toll free, bring up anything you want. What are some of the most ridiculous restrictions going on where you live? It's going to be hard to top New York State, but you might be in California or somewhere else where, it's pretty competitively ridiculous. You can call in and share what's going on near you at 855-450 free, with New York now banning any kind of ticketed live music events, at least in bars, probably any ticketed live music event, but that much we are not clear on it. They are definitely targeting bars, however, bars and restaurants. Not allowed to advertise who they're going to have playing, not allowed to accept money from anyone for tickets for the event. So you can still have someone play at your bar, but it has to be, quote, incidental to the dining experience. It cannot be the attraction to the event. So you want to share your thoughts, you can join us, 855-450 free. By the way, I want to say thanks to Sid, who is a Free Talk Live Silver amplifier, and Sid is contributing $5 a month to the AMP program to help us get Free Talk Live on more radio stations, to bring this program and the ideas of freedom into more ears around the United States. And that's what the AMP program's about, and that's what Sid's helping us do. And you can join Sid and the other almost 200 Free Talk Live amplifiers, thanks to all of you guys, at amp.freetalklive.com. It's ampamp.freetalklive.com. We got more coming up here. Captain, is there more from your story worth sharing?
Well, Leonie said she spoke to a state liquor authority enforcement officer Tuesday and was told
this was a venue owner, Leonie?
Yeah, was told that the agency could automatically suspend the liquor licenses for any venues found to be advertising shows. That seems to be different from regular enforcement, in which officers physically visit the venues to verify non-compliance. So normally, if, under regular circumstances, somebody would have to pay a visit if they're violating something to verify. This is just an automatic thing. It's like, they're like, oh, nope, you're not in compliance, automatically yank their liquor license. So apparently it's a fast track to shut your business down. She's spending the morning wiping away any references to shows off of her social media sites.
Wow.
Right? So imagine you've already advertised, and then you find out that this particular rule mysteriously crept up somehow, and now you're backtracking, right? Backtrack. Got to undo everything, right? Because all it's going to take is one bozo, right, to be like, oh, hey, look at this, take a screenshot,
send it to the cops,
send it to the cop, whatever it is, right? And then they're out of business. She said they're
going to be out of business anyway.
Yeah, and they are. And the other thing I wanted to say, too, because we were talking, you had mentioned, Mark, something about, if this were a method to sort of target small businesses and leave the larger businesses sort of alone, how is that? Well, most music venues are independent. There's no such thing that I'm aware of anyway, in my time in the music business, as a chain of music venues. Right, I've never heard of that. If so,
they're pretty rare.
Right, yeah, and if they do exist, I've certainly never participated in one knowingly anyway.
I mean, there are definitely some big venues that are totally corporatized or whatever. But
sure, I mean, all of your arenas and that kind of a thing are all subsidized by governments.
A lot of them are,
I can't think of one that isn't that I've been to. So, as far as building them and, naming the entrance or whatever it is, naming the arena itself after something.
A TD Bank
corporate.
Arena.
Right, exactly. So those are all, sponsored on some level by government. And even all the sports arenas, too. I don't know why some of these major sports, right, basketball, baseball, football, I don't know why they have the necessity to involve taxpayer money in building their stadiums.
They don't.
Because some of the wealthiest organizations on the
they don't have a
planet.
necessity. They just can because they've got the connections.
Well, I mean, basically it's something they're selling. So if you've got the you pick, right, the Tampa Bay Fire Ants, and you get this league, and then suddenly Jacksonville says, hey, we'll give you a free place to play. And so you don't have to pay rent at whatever stadium you're currently playing at, and you're going to say, well, okay.
The government has no business doing any of that.
Agreed. It doesn't make any sense, but it's a market failure problem.
I want to go to the phones here. John is on the line. He's calling from Delaware. John, you're on Free Talk Live, listening to WDOV in Dover.
Yeah, I wondered if you guys would agree with me that all politicians are liars, cheats, thieves, and cutthroats.
Let's not forget murderers.
I'm going to cut one exemption out for Ron Paul, but every other one of them, yes.
I'm going to cut out.
That's legitimate. I concur.
I'm going to cut out something like 1%.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm going to call 99%.
How many percent did you say? About 1%?
Yeah, I'm going to call 1. I'm going to take 1.
I'm at 0.5, man.
All right. All right. I'm with you. Fine.
Anywho, my comboggle in the brain is that these guys think that the politicians that have the powers that be are going to have a fair election by mail-in ballot. And I think that that's ridiculous, man. And I just heard on the radio that they're going to go ahead and fix it by throwing $25 billion at the post office. These people have not learned that you do not fix a problem by throwing money at it. Yeah. That's what they love to do. They just take our money, they throw it around like they got nothing to lose, and then they end up with a policy that's broken in half, man. I'm sick and tired of it.
Well, and
if we could go to Walmart, man, we can go to the polls.
Well, and just the term fair election, that's an oxymoron. It's like military intelligence or jumbo shrimp. An election, even if conducted mathematically to 100% accuracy, is still unfair because it's the majority forcing their opinion upon the minority.
100%. And it should be one of the most trustworthy things that we got going on, man, our elections. I mean, because it really matters who's in charge and who's pulling the cards and throwing the punches. I mean, you see what happens when tyrants get control. And I hate to say it, I'm an independent, but if these liberals get control of the presidency, the House, and the Senate, we're going to be in ruins, my friends.
Well, I just want to add this to what you were saying, the $25 billion. Apparently, that was a House bill that has been passed largely along party lines, with the Democrats, of course, supporting it. So there's a good chance it's not going to get through, and Trump will likely veto, even if it does somehow get through the Senate.
The post office has become a real political football here in the recent past. Basically,
Are we all going postal?
Yeah, apparently. On one hand, the Republicans are claiming, hey, they're doing a lot of sort of normal things that they've just been doing. On the other hand, the Democrats are like, oh my God, they're
sabotaging the election.
They're grabbing mailboxes and they're throwing them in the backs of trucks and taking them off the street.
Man, it's a crazy world that we are living in now, gentlemen.
Thank you, John, for your call tonight. I appreciate it. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. I actually have a little story here by Jacob Hornberger regarding the post office. Captain, was there anything else that you thought was worth sharing about this crackdown in New York on music venues?
It's horrifying, and everybody's upset about it that's involved in the industry. More businesses are going to go out of business that haven't already, or that have been hanging on, probably burning through all of their life savings. And, it's exasperating matters, and more people are going to be on the wrong end of this, of course.
Yeah, if you want to comment, please join us here, 855-450-FREE. I've got some related stories about other ridiculous restrictions on businesses, and it's so sad watching all this happen. And like you said, Captain, with 80% of people, season ticket holders, people who are total fanatics about the Green Bay Packers opting to not use their season pass this year is really just an indicator of how bad this situation really is, of how afraid people are of this virus that honestly doesn't seem to be that much worse than a bad cold or a flu or something like that. I mean,
it keeps going.
So does the flu. It keeps coming back year after year after year. So, and this is a new thing, right? So people who haven't gotten it before, they're going to get it for the first time, unlike some other things that they've built immunities to.
I guess I'd like to say that we have better treatments for it than we did, say, back in March and April. How's that?
I guess. I have no idea. I know some people have had some success with the, what was that thing that's been banned from some states? A whole bunch
of things. I can't remember the name of it off to. There's a whole bunch of different treatments out there. So, colchicine, I hear they're doing tests on, who knows.
855-450-FREE. I wish there was a treatment for fear, because that's the real problem. People
fear is the real virus.
Are steeped in that right now, and it is going to be very destructive. More coming up.
Have you ever thought about turning your Glock, XD Family, or 1911 handgun into a semi-automatic carbine? It only takes about 30 seconds. The MacTech Carbine Upper is classified as an accessory and can be delivered right to your doorstep with no FFL or background check required. It's the world's most versatile pistol accessory. Build your custom upper today. Simply go to handgunconversion.com. That's handgunconversion.com.
Attention radio listeners. Have you ever wanted to be independent of the utility companies and actually generate your own supply of off-grid electrical power? If so, this is going to be the most important message you'll ever hear. Here's why. A limited number of solar-powered backup generators are back in stock and now available. These emergency backup systems provide life-saving electrical power when you need it most. And unlike gas generators, a solar generator runs quietly, emits no fumes, and produces an endless supply of free electricity from the sun. It's like having an electric power plant running silently, secretly in your own home. Run sump pumps, shortwave radios, computers, even keep food from spoiling. Go to mysolarbackup.com to learn more. That's mysolarbackup.com. Supplies are still limited and are available on a first-come, first-served basis only. mysolarbackup.com.
Hi, I'm Dan Pilla. I started fighting the IRS over 40 years ago when they tried to seize my mother's house. I sued the IRS and won. I beat the IRS then, and I've been beating them ever since. I wrote the book on tax debt settlement, and I've helped thousands of people deal with tax problems they thought might never be solved. I can help you too. If you owe taxes you can't pay, don't wait another day. There's no such thing as a hopeless tax case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX or go to my website, danpilla.com. That's danpilla.com, danpilla.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
I'm crazy about My Magic Mud. This is the most important oral care product created this millennium, and I'm not kidding. We all have different opinions on politics and issues, but we all have mouths. And I want yours to be as clean as possible, with teeth as bright as they were meant to be. I will never be without My Magic Mud. It's a little surprising, but man, does it work. If you only listen to one thing I say ever, go to mymagicmud.com and get 20% off with code FTL. mymagicmud.com, code FTL.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything you want here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. We can talk about the Postal Service. There's a lot of political controversy over it right now, more so than normal.
Post office suck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, they kind of do. The host tonight, Ian.
Me, Captain.
And Mark.
We go to your phone calls and thoughts. Robert is on the line in Charleston, South Carolina, listening to WTMA. Go ahead, Robert.
Hi, sir. I just want to mention to you a couple of things. One of them is that there's an old saying, and that is, a coward dies 1,000 deaths. So if in doubt, be brave and fight hard and you'll do a lot better than if you cave in, because if you cave in once, you'll cave in again, and the enemy knows that.
You know, I got to say, normally I don't agree with the things you call in about Robert, but that, at least that statement, I happen to agree with you on that.
How does a coward die 1,000 deaths? I mean, pretty much everybody's got one shot.
Because every day stinks in a coward's life is the suggestion.
And the other thing that I wanted to mention is Germany had the same problem. In the old days, it used to be the Bundesministerium für Post und Telekommunikation. In other words, the Federal Ministry for Post and Telecommunications. It controlled both the post office and the Deutsche Telekom. And the Germans figured out that because the prices were declining rapidly, they had to let the prices decline because foreign competition was coming in, and people would call Germany, and then, Germany would call somebody, and then that person would call back with their rates, getting much cheaper rates. So they were putting the Deutsche Telekom out of business, basically. So what they did is they said the Germans are not going to run a business. It doesn't make any money, at least not from a government standpoint, that's for sure. So they sold the Deutsche Telekom, and they also sold the Deutsche Bundespost. And the Deutsche Telekom today is a very profitable making organization because it also owns T-Mobile DE, T-Mobile Deutschland, and T-Mobile USA. And you can see T-Mobile USA, they're making a huge amount of money.
Is there competition now in the German phone marketplace? Do they have more than one service provider from which to choose?
Yes, they do. Internally in Germany, they have, I believe there are 4 of them right now. Four
Well, that makes all the difference in the world, going from a monopoly service provider, whether it's run by the government or whether it's run by a private company approved by the government. Both of those situations are not optimum. They are crappy. You will get garbage service, and it sounds like that's what was happening, and they finally made the right choice to open up the market there. Thank you, Robert, for the call tonight. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Not that different from what happened here in the United States, right? Didn't they have Ma Bell or something like that way back in the
there's time.
Well, and then they broke it up and sort of allowed some competition.
Right. If you listen to the statists out there, they'll say that government programs are necessary for things that can't be run profitably, right? I mean, that's their sort of go-to line. Well, there's all kinds of things that can be run profitably, including the post office. Take a look at UPS and FedEx. They can run this profitably. The government should be completely out of the post office business. Now, I know they'll say the post office is a private business, but it is the least private business of any. I mean, let's call it quasi-governmental. Is probably the best terminology to describe it. And the restrictions and inefficiencies and all that stuff, sink or swim. The post office is an ad venue. Okay, if you don't know what an ad venue is, you're listening to one. Anything that's run for the purpose of delivering ads is an ad venue, and Free Talk Live has ads, and most commercial radio programs are run for that purpose.
Your mail has ads,
right? The pizza ads, the car washes, these Valpaks.
Your
all the stuff
shopper,
that comes.
Right.
It's just stuffing your mailbox full of junk mail, and then every once in a while, your grandkid will write you a letter to say thanks for the gift. Once every month, maybe. Once every 3 months, maybe. Once a year, you get an actual handwritten letter from somebody that you know. And really, I mean, the post office is
it's usually just bills and ads.
Yeah, bills and ads.
Yeah. Well, and as I understand it, the post office really, their remaining monopoly on shipping stuff is just on like letters and advertisements.
First class
they
mail.
Won't, they won't allow FedEx, UPS, insert, carrier here, DHL, anybody. They won't allow anybody else to like pop up, start their own business delivering letters.
That's right. It's prohibited to compete with them on first class mail.
Right.
And I mean, I'm getting my bills delivered in my email. They're directly pinging my bank account. I don't need them to send me these pieces of paper.
In my opinion, the post office is just as useless as the ye old phone monopoly, Ma Bell, when there used to be the phone company, right? We saw all sorts of innovations happen after the phone company was done away with.
Right.
The monopoly was given the kibosh, right? The hammer of crushed monopoly.
It was still a crappy system that came after that, but it was
but we started to see innovations.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden we had competing long distance companies. You had competing phone carriers. You could now sign up for a different carrier and not have to rent your phone from the company. You could buy your own phone.
That's right.
Right. And then after that, we saw all sorts of things. We saw fiber optics go in. We saw the advent of the internet. right? All sorts of fun things happened because the communications infrastructure was decentralized. And so this is the first sort of inkling that decentralized, at least in my experience, because
you're a phone guy.
And I'm 48 years old, so I've seen all this historically. But this was my first inkling that the network effect or decentralization was going to have significant impact on human society. And it has, and it continues to have it. The network effect, decentralization as a whole continues to swallow businesses on the daily. And it's coming for your government, too. It's going to swallow your government.
God, I hope it can. Can it hurry up, please?
I know, it's not fast enough for me either.
Well, monopolies defend their position to the last dying breath.
Yeah.
And usually there's some
these ones can use violence.
Yeah. Well, and
the
it's going
to hurt.
It's going to get worse before it gets better. I mean, the temper tantrums are going to increase, and we'll see violence before it finally gets quashed.
Right.
But it's coming.
And it looks particularly bad in New York State, as it usually does. They are the Empire State. We can continue here. Let's get into the postal monopoly. Jacob Hornberger over at the Future of Freedom Foundation has written a short piece. He says it's so funny.
He was a candidate for president for the Libertarians.
He was. He says it's so funny watching Republicans and Democrats fighting over the Postal Service. Their fight is over how to make the Postal Service finally work. Their differences revolve around how much tax money to hand over to the Postal Service to enable it to survive. Neither Republicans nor Democrats get it. They will never make the Postal Service work. That's because government enterprises don't work. And the Postal Service, no matter how much you dress it up, is a government enterprise.
Yeah.
That's partly what socialism is all about, government-run enterprises. Talk to any citizen of the Soviet Union or a current citizen of Venezuela, and they'll tell you about the massive inefficiencies that come with socialist or government-run enterprises. But the situation is even worse with the Postal Service. That's because Republicans and Democrats have given the Postal Service a monopoly on the delivery of first-class mail, which is what we were just talking about. That means that the law prohibits any other company from competing against the Postal Service when it comes to the delivery of first-class mail, and that's generally mail under the price of $1, roughly. If a company tries to compete, a federal judge will issue an injunction commanding it to shut down. That's how a monopoly works. In other words, it would be possible to have the Postal Service operating in competition with other firms that would be free to enter the market in the delivery of first-class mail. But we all know what would happen if that were the case. The private firms would immediately put the Postal Service out of business.
Wham, bam. Who would be on the pavement? Assets being, used by the new business or being straight up junked.
Who would do business with a government-run enterprise when they can do business with a privately run enterprise? That's why Republicans and Democrats have granted a monopoly privilege to the Postal Service, so that it would not be pushed out of business by privately owned competing firms. With the grant of a monopoly, the Postal Service doesn't have to be concerned with competition. It has a lock on first-class mail delivery no matter how poorly or inefficiently it operates. I had a lady send me a so-called priority package within the last week, and it took it was a 2-day package. It took 8 days for it to get here. What do? You just held hostage. Yeah, you just held hostage.
Well, so that's what the post office sucks at, right? If you have a parcel, if you're a business person and you send something FedEx or UPS, you can actually have them do something about it. Whereas if something happens to your parcel, you ship the post office. You can complain, but they're not going to do anything about it. They don't
Why
have
should
to. They have no incentive to provide you the service that they do. They don't compete in the same way that FedEx and UPS compete with each other.
I'd say that I think you can't ship coins, gold coins and stuff through FedEx and UPS.
I mean, I did a little bit of like online buy and sell kind of eBay stuff, and by and large, the post office was always the least expensive way to go. However, when something did screw up, there was no recourse. No recourse at all.
855-450-FREE. We can share you if you want to dial in to talk to us about whatever's on your mind. You can take control of the airwaves here. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. Hour number 2 is next. It's the live Saturday edition. This is Free Talk Live.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had gotten involved sooner? Well, now is your chance to be a part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream, for people to use it for everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that is as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
There are basically two types of advertising: direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Passes the House. I'm Joe Chiro, Fox News. The House today approving a $25 billion funding infusion for the Postal Service. Lawmakers met at a rare Saturday session to debate the bill for money Democrats say is needed to ensure the Postal Service can properly deliver mail-in ballots. About 24 Republicans voted for it. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi accuses President Trump and the Postmaster General of trying to undermine the election by reducing resources.
The Postmaster General has deliberately misled Congress and the American people about the extent of the damage, brushing them off as a dip in service and unintended consequences.
Republican Minority Leader Congressman Kevin McCarthy says that even the post office admits it doesn't need the money.
Why do they not need it? Because they look at their own bank account and realize they have $14 billion. They do not need because in the CARES Act we gave them another $10 billion to sit there. They do not need because they said they could deliver every piece of mail, that it would be only 75% of what they do in a single day.
The White House promises a veto. Fire crews in California struggling to battle hundreds of wildfires across the state.
These massive wildfires have forced thousands of people to evacuate their homes. These wildfires have damaged or destroyed more than 930 structures across the state. Unprecedented lightning storms started last Saturday and lasted throughout the week, sparking many of the fires raging in Northern California. There were nearly 12,000 lightning strikes over a 72-hour period this week, with over 100 occurring just yesterday.
Fox's Christina Coleman. Dueling demonstrations in Portland by right-wing and left-wing protesters turned violent today near a county building that's been the site of numerous recent protests. Streets were blocked and fights erupted, with police warning they may use crowd control devices. America is listening to Fox News.
Who knew that the same company that made the twist ties around your loaf of bread also made the face shield delivered to your front door? Packaging solutions provider Bedford Industries stepped up in a big way during the pandemic with help from NetSuite, the world's #1 cloud business system. Here's Bedford's president, Jay Milbrandt.
At Bedford, we saw an opportunity to retool our products to create face shields. Thanks to the visibility and control NetSuite provides, we had the agility to change our business overnight. In no time, NetSuite helped us launch our first e-commerce site and handled crucial details from licensing to order tracking. Now we're taking orders from around the world 24/7. We couldn't have done it without NetSuite.
NetSuite by Oracle gives you visibility and control over your financials, HR, inventory, e-commerce, and more. Everything you need all in one place. They surveyed hundreds of business leaders and assembled a playbook of top strategies they're using as America reopens for business. Receive your free guide, 7 actions businesses need to take now, and schedule your free product tour at netsuite.com/Fox. netsuite.com/Fox.
College campuses respond to an increase in COVID cases among students. Fox's Charles Watson reports.
Syracuse University says it may be on the brink of shutting campus down. This after a video emerged on social media showing students secretly gathering on campus earlier this week. So far, the university has suspended 23 students who were identified in the video. University of Notre Dame leaders are deciding whether to keep students on campus or send them home after a rise in positive cases there. School officials have blamed the increase on off-campus parties. For now, students have temporarily switched to virtual learning. Meanwhile, the university's president said it's up to students to save the semester.
Thousands of students from North Carolina University at Chapel Hill are already going home after a massive spike of COVID cases there. Bags of peaches are getting recalled after dozens of people got sick. Fox's Jill Nato has details.
Peaches from Aldi and Target stores getting recalled as the Food and Drug Administration says the fruit is most likely behind a salmonella outbreak. 68 people have gotten sick across 9 states. 14 of them got so sick they had to be hospitalized. The suspect peaches are in Wawona brand 2-pound clear plastic bags. But the investigation isn't stopping there. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is saying they're working to identify other retailers that might have sold contaminated peaches. Jill Nato, Fox News.
The White House Rose Garden has been spruced up just in time for its moment in the campaign spotlight. First Lady Melania Trump will deliver her Republican National Convention speech Tuesday night from the garden. White House officials say the 3 weeks of renovations done in the spirit of the original 1962 design were paid for by private donations. I'm Joe Chiro, Fox News.
Yesterday, 2 groups of men shot at each other near Bagram Base, where I am. Today, the soldiers are happy about some of the men dying and sad about other men dying. Sergeant First Class Aaron Tomlin is only sad about 4 of the dead people.
It's a long, tough day here. We lost 4 good men.
No, 27 men died. 4 American soldiers and 23 Taliban soldiers. You said that 4 soldiers die and it makes you sad. But you said when Taliban soldiers die, it does not make you sad. I asked Base Commander David Hawkins to make it make sense.
The last thing we resort to is hurting anyone. But you have to understand, it's our job to keep the American people safe from our enemies. And sometimes that includes...
So if you kill your enemies at your job, it is not sad.
Well...
What if I killed my enemy Ryan at my job? It would not be sad?
No, you shouldn't do that.
But he is rude to me. He steals my yogurts. He makes fun of the way I talk.
Look, only soldiers can kill without getting in trouble.
Okay. Are you going to kill Ryan?
No.
It does not make sense.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, and we're kicking off the second hour here. Plenty of time for you if you want to join us on this live Saturday edition of the show. Our number is 855-450-FREE. We're talking about the Postal Service. It's been in the news quite a bit recently with people on the left accusing Donald Trump of putting somebody into the Postmaster General's seat who was a donor to the Trump campaign, and essentially claiming that this guy is sabotaging the Postal Service with the intention of making it more difficult for people to do mail-in or absentee ballots in the upcoming election. That's one of these left-wing conspiracy theories that we hear about every now and then, and this one's made it pretty big. Now, is there some truth to it? I don't know. Possibly.
I'm sure they can prove that he's a donor if he's a donor, and those things. It gets much more murky after that. This one, the politicians are pushing to some extent to the point that they're making sort of outlandish claims about the mailboxes being stolen. And
are those not true?
Well, mailboxes are being
they're being confiscated.
They're being removed, not stolen,
but in some cases replaced.
Oh, really?
Mailboxes get old, and the post office is probably moving mailboxes around all the time.
I don't know why everybody's really even talking about the post office. It should just be shut down and eliminated and replaced by the free market, because if we don't hurry up and replace it with something, it's only a matter of time until going postal resurrects itself, right? We already know that this particular organization has the origin of the term going postal.
That's right.
It was the original mass shooting, if you will, from this organization. Right. This is where it came from, and you can imagine why, because it is a pseudo-government organization. organization with monopoly over certain things that it does.
And it can probably really suck to work for him.
It absolutely should and probably does. But it's only a matter of time until another one of these postal workers literally goes postal.
Well, they're not going to do it in time, Captain, for the upcoming election. They're not going to end the Postal Service.
Of course, it's a political football round.
Anytime soon. That's not going to happen. No one has proposed that. The politicians all want to say
Libertarians
that.
are the only ones out there talking about ending the post office. I'm sorry. I mean, the idea they're just not paying attention to that particular issue. It doesn't seem to be on the table.
Who's not paying attention to it?
The nation in general.
Well, there's a lot of attention being paid to
sure,
post
but they're
office
not talking
right now.
about eliminating it.
No, right. None of the Republicans or Democrats are doing that. They're all talking about saving the post office. They all worship the post office.
Which is a really bad idea. I mean, you wouldn't be out there advocating for the saving of a telephone company or advocating for the saving of a TV network or anything like that. It's just an ad venue, ladies and gentlemen. It's not even.
But it's a constitutional one.
Only post roads.
Oh, really?
I'm not 100% sure that the post office is, in fact, constitutional. And the Constitution says you have to have post roads, but roads is plural. Mm-hmm. You may have two, and it doesn't say how long they need to be. So,
I've got two of them in my backyard.
Uh-huh.
Right? I mean, the Washington, D.C., they can declare two streets the post roads, and therefore these are constitutional. If the United States needs to have a post office, then fine, you can have it in major cities or something. I don't care. I mean, there's ways to pare this mess down. The idea that somehow we need mail delivery to every box in America 6 days a week is absolutely ludicrous. I mean, why couldn't you do half the city Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and the other half Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday?
It's ridiculous, Mark.
I mean, right.
That's not how government works.
Because a competitor would come in and figure out how to cut costs in half.
Well, plus there is a postal union that's not going to let you do it.
Yeah, they're less so than there used to be.
All right.
Yes.
All right, hear me out. If, in fact, this is all about the ballots, right? This is the political football. The post office thing is all about, it's going to be a majority mail-in ballot kind of thing, right? So aren't we assisting in spreading COVID by having the mail-in ballots because of all the licking of the envelopes people have to do?
It's dangerous.
Let's go to Jet. He's in Tornado Alley on listening online. Go ahead, Jet. You're on Free Talk Live.
Oh, no. Well, why I call in every so often to challenge you guys into something, because I believe that I have been promoting the key to setting the world free. So I've come up with a brand new challenge, not the one I mentioned last Monday, but this one would be, I'll give you $1 of crypto for every caller that you remind that these people with titles are just other people who have no right to do what they do. What do you think?
I like the idea that, I love anybody who wants to join the AMP program at amp.freetalklive.com. And I think you're right whenever you say that we should not be, not be promoting the government as some sort of, big monolith, scary thing, but just remind people that these are petty tyrants. They're lunatics. They're a gang.
I've said government goons at least once, if not more than once so far tonight.
Yeah, we say it relatively regularly. We're better.
Yeah. No, but what do you think about the idea of just that phraseology, that these are just other people who have no right to do what they do?
I like it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if I don't have the right to, take half of Mark's money whenever I feel like it,
right.
Then nobody else should have that right either. And if you think that they do have that right, where did they get that right from?
Good question.
It certainly isn't because a whole bunch of people said it was cool.
Right, and usually at that point, the person will retreat to a practical argument. Well, without, say, property taxes or whatever, then who's going to run the schools and the police department and the fire department and these sorts of things? And are those valuable services? Well, of course they're valuable services. Then somebody will run them.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So would you like to take up the challenge or no?
Well, I love the challenge and I will take it up, but I don't know. I'm not looking to earn money doing it.
Every time you talk to a new caller and they bring something up about how they're under some form of oppression, someone made them do this, do that, stand on their left leg, whatever, take a picture. You just remind them these are just other people who have no right to do what they do, and ka-ching, you get $1 of crypto wherever you want it for that price.
Well, you go to bitcoin.freetalklive.com, and our crypto addresses are right there.
Hey, thanks, Jet. It's a great plan. I think everybody should do this, not just people on the radio, but other people need to think in that particular manner and speak in that particular manner. And I'm with you, Mark. I mean, it's not that's something I would do to try to earn crypto or whatever. It's just a good idea to do it. It's just remembering to do it is the the hard part.
It's verbal hygiene is what Jet is all about, and yeah, I mean, good.
Is Jet in New Hampshire?
No, sadly, he's in Tornado Alley, which does not sound very New Hampshire.
Yeah, that's generally the South, right?
Is that
I don't know
specifically.
Oklahoma to
I had
Florida,
heard one point where he was, but wouldn't share it on the air anyway.
All right.
Yeah, so a little bit more here about the post office monopoly. This is Jacob Hornberger from the Future of Freedom Foundation. He points out that they have a monopoly over first-class mail. There's no one else allowed to compete in that area. He says, here's an enterprise that can set any price it wants for its services, and yet it still can't make it. Imagine what would happen if its monopoly privilege was suddenly removed and privately owned firms were free to enter the market and compete in the delivery of first-class mail. The Postal Service would be toast. And it should be toast, he says. Monopolies have no place in American life. They are contrary to principles of economic liberty, free markets, free enterprise, and private property. That's one of the most amusing parts of this entire controversy. Insofar, or at least insofar as Republicans are concerned, they're the ones who are always preaching the virtues and benefits of, quote, freedom, free enterprise, and private property, unquote, and exclaiming against socialism. Yet when it comes to the Postal Service and lots of other things, Republicans are as big a proponents of socialism as Democrats are. But Republicans aren't the only ones who suffer from a severe case of hypocrisy here. Don't forget it's the Democrats who are known far and wide for their antipathy towards big private companies, which they consider to be monopolies, and yet their devotion to the giant postal monopoly is as big as that of the Republicans.
Yeah, Post Office is a huge organization, and it is a monopoly.
Don't they have more postal bureaucrats than like Army bureaucrats, I think?
I don't know, but I've heard the Army called the Post Office in fatigues.
Yeah. When it comes to the Postal Service, he writes, the American people should engage in a mercy killing. It's time to bring an end to the long-time suffering of this socialist institution. Repealing the postal monopoly is not enough. Better to just end all government involvement in mail delivery. That's Jacob Hornberger there in Laredo, Texas. The Future of Freedom Foundation, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You can bring up whatever's on your mind. More ridiculous restrictions on your freedom coming up here on Free Talk Live.
Divvy's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divvy's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to divvyproject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from divvyproject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. divvyproject.org. D-I-V-I project.org. News from news.bitcoin.com. Chinese banks limit customers' ability to buy gold. Chinese flooding and potential dam collapse threatens many Bitcoin operations. Withdrawals from crypto exchanges increase, indicating perhaps more people are holding their coin for themselves. Tentative agreement met to stabilize Bitcoin Cash mining in conjunction with the currency's third birthday. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies, getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com.
So when we brought him home, we didn't realize that Bear, the rescue dog, was actually sick. He had very flaky skin. He was dropping a lot of fur. And Levette wanted to do steroid injections, special dog food. Nothing seemed to work. So I was at a dead end.
DINOVITE.com.
I've been hearing Dinovite on the radio for years. It never actually crossed my mind to try it until it finally sunk in. Oh, you're talking about hair and skin. And all right. I'll try it. Well, it took probably 6 weeks, but after we started using Dinovite, no more flaky skin, he doesn't scratch and itch, and he started to put weight on.
Dinovite is nutrition.
I wish that we would have started the Dinovite right away. It would have been so much easier.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
Every rescue dog in America deserves Dinovite for 90 days.
DINOVITE.com.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com. Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, the live Saturday episode. You dial toll free to join us here. The number's 855-450-FREE like freedom. I saw a video today. It was the AnyPay video channel on YouTube, where they, Derek J. Freeman, who's one of the founders of AnyPay, by the way, the excellent app that we've been telling you about for the last couple of years to allow you to take cryptocurrency payments at your local business. Well, now it's an excellent app that allows you to take cryptocurrency payments through your WordPress WooCommerce-based website.
That's awesome.
Now, I don't have a WooCommerce. I've got a bunch of WordPress sites, but I don't sell things on them. So I don't have any experience with WooCommerce. But WooCommerce is the #1 platform on WordPress, which is by far one of the top platforms on the planet for website building. So of WordPress sites, a bunch of them have this WooCommerce thing already. Okay, people who are selling things on their website are using this WooCommerce platform. And now there's a plugin for AnyPay for WooCommerce. I watched a video today of Derek J. Freeman from AnyPay starting from zero, creating a brand new AnyPay account at anypayinc.com, and then loading up this plugin into his WordPress site. So you already had a WordPress site, right? Presuming you already have a WordPress site running WooCommerce.
Right.
All you got to do is add the plugin for AnyPay, and once you've set up the back end of AnyPay, you're ready to go. He did it within 5 minutes. He set up a brand new account from scratch with AnyPay. He enabled the AnyPay plugin on his WooCommerce and was able to take a payment from his WooCommerce website within
amazing.
5 minutes.
What that means is that for somebody like me, it would only take me like 20, 25 minutes.
Right. Yeah, he didn't cut corners, really. I mean, the only corner I think that he might have cut would have been that he didn't show the time it took to click the add plugin on the WordPress. He had already sort of added the plugin for the purposes of the video, but I still think you could do it in under 5, definitely under 10 minutes if you took your sweet time.
Right.
I mean, this was fast. And again, starting from no AnyPay account. So created a whole new AnyPay account and plugged it right into his WordPress blog, and boom, he was able to order a product from his website using the AnyPay payment platform.
I love the work
easy.
those guys are doing.
So easy. So yeah, if you've been waiting, if you've been waiting to put some crypto acceptance on your WordPress WooCommerce blog, now you can do it, and you can finish the task by the time this segment is over if you go and do it right now.
Right, and it's a good idea if you do have a site like this to just accept crypto. Why not?
It's a no-brainer. especially when it's this easy.
Yeah.
So no application process, no waiting for approvals, no bureaucrats to have to beg for permission, none of that. You just go and install that AnyPay plugin for your WordPress WooCommerce. Easy. All right, so check them out at anypayinc.com, anypayinc.com as we continue here. And by the way, you can take Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin SV, the original Bitcoin, Dash, and one of the stable coins there. So check it out, anypayinc.com. All right, so we were talking about the Postal Service. The controversy continues as the elections are coming up fast here in New Hampshire. We've got a primary election coming up here in the next 2 weeks, basically 2.5 weeks until that happens. It'll be interesting to see.
That's not a presidential primary. That's a
state primary.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see, if the numbers are significantly down as far as physical turnout in real life, given the fear that has been spread around about this whole COVID thing. We will certainly keep an eye on it.
I think people's fear that the other, bad politician. I don't know about the primary that you're talking about, but when it comes to presidential election, I would say that people's fear that the wrong crooked old pervert
that's going to drive them out
might get into the office will get them out to the polls for their favorite crooked old pervert.
Well, but they can still do absentee ballot if they want to. So there's a lot of people I think are going to start voting from home.
It depends on the state and
a lot of states will allow a mail-in vote with no excuse. They'll just allow it, and then those.
If you go ahead and plan ahead to do those sorts of things, I think that it makes more sense to me. But.
Yeah. All right, so you want to join the show here, you can. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Coming up, or actually I guess right now, Bike Week has begun here in New Hampshire. Now, we talked about Sturgis, the bike festival out there, which is a massive festival. In fact, Captain used to live in Sturgis, so you've experienced it personally.
I have.
From what I understand, the numbers at Sturgis might have been down somewhat, but
it's low for them. I think they've been as high as over 700,000 this year. I think it was 250,000.
Yeah, still
a huge event.
Yeah,
still huge.
Yeah,
250,000 people.
I don't know how many people normally go to Motorcycle Week or Bike Week in Laconia, New Hampshire, but it is a traditionally well-attended event.
Yeah,
certainly a big one for here in the Granite State, and. It's just so hard to get excited about any of these things that are going on just because of the way they're marketed, because of the way that they're safetied up. We've got more safety now than ever at Bike Week. Come on down.
It's almost like all of these things that go on should hire, the safety Karen, right? For like in the little corner of their videos or whatever.
Karen's the title now?
Safety Karen?
Safety Karen? Sure, why not? Like they used to have for the hearing impaired, the little sign language guy in the bottom corner.
Have that.
Just have safety Karen with all like the safety stuff that you got to have a mask on, and,
right? And that's what it's going to be, according to this news quote news article.
A socially distanced Bike Week.
WMUR Motorcycle Week in Laconia will be smaller this year than usual, and people headed to the Lakes region will see a lot of safety-related changes, from sanitizing high contact surfaces on the main drag to encouraging masks and social distancing. Jennifer Anderson, the Laconia Motorcycle Week Association, says, quote, "I do think people will still enjoy coming up here because it's such a beautiful area, and really the whole point of Motorcycle Week is to get out and ride," she says. State police don't encourage motorcyclists to ride with a mask on.
I thought it was to get in and drink.
Yeah, there's a lot of that goes on. State police don't encourage motorcyclists to ride with a mask on because it can blow up over their eyes or otherwise distract the rider. They said the time to...
Wearing a mask outdoors doesn't make much sense to me generally.
I saw somebody driving all alone in their car today with a mask on.
I seen a dude walking up to the convenience store with a mask on.
They said the time to mask up is after getting off the motorcycle. Yeah, if you're a wuss. Laconia officials said they expect the crowds to be similar to any busy summer weekend in the Lakes region. Local business owner says, quote, "Any income is going to help because hospitality has just been decimated by the pandemic." No, it wasn't the pandemic. It was the government gang that threatened your business and threatened you and your livelihood and said, if you try to do business the way you want to, we're going to hurt you.
I'm so infuriated by all of the writing that blames everything on COVID.
The pandemic.
Yeah. Oh, it's the pandemic's fault. It's COVID's fault. This happened because of COVID. No, it didn't happen because of that. It happened because of your government's BS reaction to it.
Right, because every other pandemic that has happened in our lifetimes has been completely completely ignored by business, and everything's been fine.
All of the horrible things are caused by the goons, the tyrants, the parasites, the thugs, the mafia, the idiots, the liars, the individuals who call themselves government.
Let's go to Mike. He's in Croydon, New Hampshire. You're on Free Talk Live, listening to WNTK-FM.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Mike.
I just want to know if you know, like, I am so tired of this mass bullcrap, but if you know if anyone has gotten either arrested or fined, and if anyone has challenged it in a court of law. Because
excellent question. Stand by, Mike. Well, I want to bring it back. If you got time to stay, we'll continue the conversation here. That is a great question. With all the threats that the government gang has issued, not just here in New Hampshire, but elsewhere. I'm sure it's been happening elsewhere. But here in New Hampshire, has there actually been a fine issued in one of these towns which has the no mask, the mask mandates that they've put into place? We'll continue with that here in moments. It's Free Talk Live.
Do you want more businesses accepting Bitcoin Cash and Dash? Now with AnyPay, you earn passive income for every purchase at those businesses. Finally, a financial incentive to spread Bitcoin Cash and Dash. You made it happen, so you receive the rewards. Download the AnyPay Cash Register app and add your cryptocurrency wallet addresses. Then install it at a real-life business and tell us what you did at AnyPayInc.com. AnyPayInc.com.
Divvy's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divvy's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to DivvyProject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from DivvyProject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. DivvyProject.org. DIVI Project.org.
We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish a TV show where I travel across this great nation eating pork in every one of our 50 states. Join me on my cross-country odyssey as I make our forefathers proud, reveling in life, liberty, and the pursuit of pork.
You can really taste the cooked pork. This stuff is fantastic. I'm a big salt fan.
Let's pork! We're tasting prime pork dishes in every state in the Union, and I couldn't be more excited for this once-in-a-lifetime tour. You're going to be right here with me, seeing everything I do and watching every pork I taste. I'm Jim Haggerty. You know me as the host of Today Now, but I've also eaten in a ton of restaurants. Now I'm heading out on the road. My mission? Find the best pork our country has to offer.
Watch Jim Haggerty's Porkin' Across America at youtube.com/The Onion.
This is the Onion News Network.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it! You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
This is novelist Tom Robbins. When my mother was diagnosed with glaucoma, her conservative Virginia physician told her there was only one treatment that might ease her pain and save her eyesight. That treatment was medical marijuana, which he could not prescribe. I offered to get her some and teach her how to use it effectively, but my father objected because marijuana was against the law. So my mother, who loved to read and walk in nature, was condemned to grow cruelly, unnecessarily blind. Tragedies like this happen all the time, but they don't have to keep happening. To learn more about medical marijuana, call the Marijuana Policy Project at 1-877-JOIN-MPP or visit them on the web at mpp.org.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live, you dial toll-free if you want to join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450, free like freedom, 855-450-3733. We're talking about the lamification of everything.
Lamification?
Yeah.
Interesting.
The best word I can think of.
It's a good word. I like it.
We're at everything that was used to been fun. Either has been abolished completely, like live music now, apparently.
Stand-up comedy.
Bars, and yes, no comedy allowed in New York. You're not allowed to laugh if you're in New York. That's now a crime, apparently. And so, and then the few things that are left that you can still do in the places that allow the few things that you can still do have just made it so lame. It just sounds on its face like something I wouldn't want to go and do. We were discussing Bike Week here. We can get back into that. But Mike in Croydon, New Hampshire, he's also pretty fed up, he says, with all this mask nonsense, and want to bring him back on the line here. Because you'd asked a question that I thought was really interesting, Mike. Can you go ahead and re-ask that? I know we just ran right into that break there. Go ahead.
Right. I was wondering if anyone's got arrested or fined, and if anyone's challenged it in a court of law, because I'm damn sure this is unconstitutional, and I've been going into stores unmasked, undiaper-faced, and no one looks at me. But I think someone has to challenge this. And are there any pro bono lawyers in New Hampshire that will take this case and take it to court? Because this mask stuff is just bullcrap.
Well, first of all, let me just correct some vernacular there. I like to call it normal face. Normal face.
Yeah, dirty face diapers is what I call it.
Well, what I would say is that what they're largely doing is they're not going after the non-mask wearer. Mm-hmm. They're going after the business. They're
at least in Keene they are. I don't know about the other ordinances.
But this is the smart way to do it if you're the state, because the state loves to tell people, hey, make sure you check the ID of everybody who buys a pack of cigarettes and ensure that they're 18 years old. And everybody who buys some alcohol, make sure they're 21. And now you're their unpaid enforcer. And that's what they're doing here, too. They're saying, your occupancy permit is at risk here, and if you don't enforce our rules, our capricious rules in the manner that we prescribe, then you will be shut down. Remember what it was like to be shut down a couple of months ago? You like that? Ha, 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 ha. Okay, well, that's what you're going to get if you don't do it. And so...
Well, but Mike asks an interesting question, and that is, has there yet been an actual government fine issued to any of these business owners for their lack of compliance with these various different mask mandates and governor's orders?
That was the specific, because I just quickly Googled arrested for not wearing a mask, and of course refusing to wear, Oregon man arrested.
Hold on,
you're
specifying New Hampshire though, right, Mike? Because obviously it's happening in other states.
I was saying New Hampshire, but I was thinking maybe Massachusetts. But I mean, I would volunteer to be arrested if I was guaranteed a lawyer could support me.
I appreciate that level of commitment to civil disobedience. Unfortunately, I don't know of attorneys who are, particularly interested in taking cases like this pro bono. That said, I did speak over the last couple of weeks with Robert Foho, who is the attorney who sued the city of Nashua over its mask mandate a few weeks back, or maybe a couple months back at this point. But he filed that suit, and that case is still, moving forward. And he's not doing it pro bono, from what I understand, because when I talked to him about it, he gave me a price to do it here in Keene, and I decided I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm just going to throw some money at this. I don't know how much a full trial would cost, but he said that he'd be willing to do up to the preliminary injunction for no more than $5,000, so he was able to cap that fee, and that's really just the basic first step of this. So unfortunately, I don't know. I don't know how you go about finding a pro bono attorney easily. I don't think they just, come and knock on your door or whatever. Maybe they do eventually, but they certainly aren't knocking on my door. So
well, they do this for a living. They went to school and paid money for it. So.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
But it's always better to have a pro bono attorney if you can find one, because then you know they really are interested in the case. You know that they care about the issue. You know that they are like the best person probably for the job, and it won't cost you anything. But that said, FOHO is interested in these cases, and so I decided, all right, well, I'm going to see if I can team up with some local business owners here, and we're just going to go ahead and sue the city of Keene over their mask mandate. We may actually end up suing the state government via the governor's office as well. I haven't seen exactly what he's going to write up for the case, but rest assured, Mike, the gears are turning on some sort of a lawsuit against these various goons.
That's good, because it's got to go to court. It has to go to court and has to be struck down, because
well, what really needs to happen, and this is the real solution. I don't know if anybody wants to hear this or they're going to do anything about it, but the real solution is for business owners to actually stand up and go ahead and open their doors and set whatever rules they want to and ignore the government's orders, ignore their mandates, and then we'll really put them to the test. Because most of these business owners are just cowering in fear of what the government gang will do to them. And I understand it. It's scary. The government goons are, they're scary people, and they've got jail cells, and they've got men with guns, and they are not afraid to use them. So I understand why a business owner would be afraid of them.
May I say something?
Yes. Please.
I think the business owners are, the only thing they're doing is putting a sign up in front of the door to cover their butts, CYA, and when you walk in, like I do everywhere I go, they don't care. So I don't know how you're going to force the issue.
Yeah, not every business owner's that way, but a lot of them are. So, I mean, some of them are, they really don't care one way or the other. They put the sign up because they're mandated to put the sign up. Others are, very concerned about it. And
yeah, some are.
And obviously, it's their business. They get to decide. And this is the difficulty in my
Well, they don't get to decide.
They get to decide what goes on in their business. As
Not
far as
right
I'm
now.
concerned,
The government gang tells them what to do.
fine. But if a business owner said that you had to wear a Panama hat in order to walk in the door,
Yes, they can decide
They
that.
could decide to do that in a libertarian world. That's their
Yes, in
decision.
theory, they can do that, yes.
But they're the market is perverted in this case.
That's right. So I do want to see business owners stand up, and I'm not saying I don't appreciate those business owners who don't say anything. Those people do exist. We do like to patronize their businesses when we find out about them. But really, the question is, what happens to those business owners when some snitch goes to the local police department, and then the cops show up at their front door and say, all right, this is your first warning. If you don't do such and such and such and such, mandate masks or whatever the requirements are, you got to do X, Y, and Z, or else we're going to come back and give you a real warning, and then we're going to hit you with a fine of $1,000.
Then the billy clubs
or whatever. So the question is, how many business owners have the gumption to where they can stand up all the way to getting the fine? Because most of them are going to crack at the point at which they get the written notice.
They didn't get into business to be activists. They got into business to make money.
That's right. So that's the sad part is they're interested in making money, but they think that they're going to be able to make more money if they appease the government.
Sure,
and I think they're going to end up shut down.
A couple of months ago, businesses were willing to say, "Hey, we're opening up. We don't care about your lockdown because one way or the other, this business is going under." You can go ahead and take my license. Fine. I'll be out of business. I'll be out of business anyway because my business is going
under. But that
under.
hasn't happened that much here in New Hampshire.
I understand that hasn't happened that much here in New Hampshire. Yeah. What I'm saying is that when a business owner is put up against the wall and to the point that they're going to lose their business, then yes, they will act.
I hope they do. Some of them will just close.
Some. Yeah. But most of them will probably just close because people didn't get into this to be activists. They're like, well, I guess I'm out of business.
Or they got kids and they're worried about, taking care of their kids. You can't do that from jail very easily, right? So there's all kinds of fear surrounding continuing to do business. And it's so sad to see it happen. Mike, anything else you want to share tonight?
No, I just want to thank you guys for pursuing it with Nashua, and good luck with your case.
Yeah, no, it's not Nashua in our case, but the same attorney who sued the city of Nashua for their mask mandate is also going to be suing the city of Keene, and I will be one of the plaintiffs in that particular lawsuit. So thank you, Mike, for the call tonight. We'll see how that goes. It hasn't been filed yet, though, so it's not a lawsuit until it's been filed. So, but he's been paid.
Who knows how long it'll take. And
he's been paid.
Right.
So hopefully that'll make it happen. 855-450 free like freedom. You can join us here on the radio. Bring up whatever you want. Is there a heroic business owner near you that you want to point out and give him some credit? More coming up.
Are you ready for what's next? It's likely coming. More food shortages, power outages, grocery stores closed, social unrest. Ask yourself, do you have enough food and supplies on hand to last at least 30 days? Most Americans do not, but you can. Avoid the panic of the last-minute rush. Order your 4-week supply of emergency food today from mypatriotsupply.com. Starvation or dependency on the government are your only alternatives. Avoid those and the pain of being unprepared. Go to mypatriotsupply.com right now. Build your emergency food supply with meals that last up to 25 years in storage, shipped discreetly to your door. Folks that know what's coming are using today to prepare. There's time for you to do the same. That's mypatriotsupply.com, the original Patriot Preparedness Company. mypatriotsupply.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
After about a month of Extendovite, I don't know what it is about the circulation factor, I was able to increase the weight, increase the amount of sets I could do. It has to do with the oxygen getting to the blood. You should market this as an athletic performance. And I don't change anything about my diet or anything. I just thought, this is amazing. Bilberry extract is got something called resveratrol in it, which is the same stuff that you get from red wine. It's also good for eyesight. And I was reading that the Royal Air Force during World War II would give their pilots bilberry jam so they could have better night vision stuff. This is amazing.
To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Dial toll free. Join us on the radio. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've got the Discord call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. So feel free to join us on one of those. You'll sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio with me, Ian.
And I am L Captain Kickass.
And I'm Mark.
And Free Talk Live is brought to you by Bitcoin.com. It's time for you, if you haven't done so yet, to start looking into cryptocurrency like Bitcoin at Bitcoin Cash. You can do that. They got a Get Started section over at Bitcoin.com that'll walk you through the basics. And you know what? There's no better time than now to get started on that. In fact, the first video that you can watch for a brief overview is, I think, all of 2 or 3 minutes long. So you don't have to invest a whole lot of time just to get the basics down. But it is a topic that you can dig pretty deep into, and Bitcoin.com is a great resource to get started. That's Bitcoin.com. They also have a news site over at news.bitcoin.com to keep you in the loop with the latest headlines in regards to the cryptocurrency world. That's news.bitcoin.com. We go back to your phone calls and thoughts. Jerome on the line with us in Charleston, South Carolina, listening to WTMA. Go ahead, Jerome.
Hey, they send that scumbag Steve Bannon to prison yet?
I don't think so yet. No, I think he's still writing articles.
Wasn't he one of Trump's buddies? So if he went to prison, there's a good chance he'll get pardoned, right?
Hey, great minds think alike, right? That's what I'm thinking. First he doesn't know you, then he pardons you. Yeah. You know that scam they run, that wall scam, where these people were sending them money?
A wall scam?
Yeah, this is what it's all about.
Yeah, it smells a lot like that Trump University scam where he was scamming people out their money because he going to teach them to be a big muckety-muck mover and shaker like him.
So what is going on with this wall scam? What's the wall scam? I'm not familiar with it.
Yeah, they were getting people money, sending them.
Huh?
They were building the wall. They weren't building the wall. They were putting the money in their pocket.
Oh, I thought Mexico was going to pay for the wall, Jerome.
So what you're saying is that Trump's buddies, this Bannon guy, was involved allegedly in just taking money from people, claiming that they were going to build a wall, but just embezzling the funds. Was that what the allegations were?
You think I'm going to let a comment like he just made go by? Didn't you hear the president of Mexico say, "We're not building no blankety-blank wall"? What's wrong with that crazy dude in America? We're not building no wall.
Right, but just to be clear, that's what the allegations are, is that Bannon was taking money off of some sort of operation that was designed to dupe people into thinking that they were giving money to a wall-building operation when, in fact, they were just lining their own pockets. Those are the allegations in this case?
Yeah, him and this other guy that's a disabled veteran that was in on it. I mean,
oh yeah, you've got to have a disabled veteran in on it too. That way,
he's a triple amputee.
Yeah, that way people will feel real sorry for him and start giving 10 times as much.
Hey, I got a question for Jerome. What would you hear me out?
Ask away.
What would you think of a political bill for president and vice president of both Trump and Bernie Sanders with the campaign slogan "Everything is free and Mexico will pay for it"?
That's as funny as when I heard you doing the Southern accent.
Jerome, thank you for the call tonight, man. I definitely appreciate hearing from you.
Hey, I got to ask you one other thing.
Go ahead. Yeah.
You know, we got a guy on the radio here who says several times that he doesn't trust Democrats, okay? Mm-hmm. Well, how you like the latest news about greasy, oily Steve Bannon? I mean, who does he think he is? Donald J. Trump? You think you can just rig everything and get away with it? Well, we'll see.
Well, anyone who trusts politicians obviously hasn't been around very long.
Here it comes.
So, yeah. Surprise, your buddy Bannon is a scumbag, you know?
They all lie, Jerome.
They are.
They do. I get it now.
The evidence is strong.
Yeah. I mean, maybe except for Ron Paul. Everybody else is pretty much a liar.
I'll go a few more than that.
Rand Paul.
Okay, name another one, Mark.
I don't know. I like the Massey. I like the Mosh. I like a few of those guys.
Okay.
Rand Paul.
I like Tulsi Gabbard.
Are you saying
I like Tulsi Gabbard.
Are you saying they're not liars?
Right.
Well, look,
just because you like them?
I think human beings are by their nature liars, so I would never claim that somebody is not a liar.
Hey, I got to ask you about one other thing. You know, Trump called Miss Harris, call her dirty, and, you know, he called her nasty and all that. Was she nasty when he was giving her campaign money? Was she nasty, or did she just become nasty all of a sudden?
I honestly don't know who you're talking about.
Who's Ms. Harris?
Oh, he's talking about Camel Toe Harris? I think that's her name?
Yeah, Kamala Harris.
Oh, sorry, Kamala. I thought it was Camel Toe.
Yeah.
Why was he giving her campaign money?
Yeah, he contributed to her campaign twice.
Okay.
That's what
Trump did?
Isn't that how you get things done?
Well, he gave money to Hillary Clinton, too. How'd that work out?
Well, it worked out fine for Hillary.
Jerome, thanks for the call, man. I appreciate hearing from you.
It's been a night of oxymorons, right? We just talked about honest politicians.
Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it.
What was the other one earlier? The other oxymoron was about the post office. It was it was fair election, right? Because no matter who wins, it's still not fair to the people that are getting whatever forced upon them.
Whoever wins, we lose.
Right.
I like that. Let's go to Ted. He's in Kansas, listening to KINA in Salina. Go ahead, Ted.
Yes, good evening.
Yes.
I had a friend that was at Sturgis during the bike weekend. He said that Black Lives Matters came in there and were protesting, and they were immediately surrounded, and all of the good American bikers surrounded them, and they were chanting USA, USA.
I hate chanting.
Chanting is usually the sign of a cult.
Local police had to escort them, from the area.
Yeah, it seems like a real bad plan for Black Lives Matter or Antifa or whoever it was that was doing the counter protest. Probably the last place I would want to do that would be at a biker rally.
Yeah,
you're going to be outnumbered and outgunned and out everything in that kind of situation.
At the post office, as far as that, up until Bill Clinton, also known as Slick Willie, when he came in, the post office was operating, not with a loss or a profit. And what he did is he raided the postal workers' pension funds, to pay for other things, and that was the beginning a lot of the problems in the post office.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure the post office would have failed anyway because, email became a thing, and that replaced a heck of a lot of their letter business, and that the letter volume has fallen pretty significantly. The fact is, whether it was Clinton or whether it was Ronald Reagan or whoever that was in the office of president is really immaterial to the post office failure. I mean,
thank God they didn't turn email over to the post office, and we all had to pay like a quarter every time we sent an email.
Don't encourage the bastards.
Oh, it's not possible.
I know, but still, for the next time, I mean, the next technology that comes around, and let's not give them any ideas, Mark. Jeez, man.
It's just government fails. Go ahead, Ted.
I think that Jerome should get into politics. I think maybe like him and Tawana Brawley, that would be a good ticket for the presidency.
Thank you, Ted, for your call tonight. I appreciate hearing from you. Tim is in Mikado, Michigan. Tim, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
What's on your mind, Tim?
Hey, Michigan has just started to finding businesses, it looks like.
They've started finding businesses?
Yeah, there's like 4 of them yesterday on the news. They got a gym and a construction company and, I don't know, a couple other ones.
And what are they finding them for?
$7,000 to the construction company for not providing masks or not wearing masks or some bizarre thing like that.
That is so dumb.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to top Jerome.
Yeah, you really can't. I mean, he's really entertaining.
Don't try.
Well, he has to be. Yeah, you almost have to excuse him. He's probably drinking city water. You know that, right? You know what city water is,
right? City water?
It's going to have water that has fluoride in it.
You need to put an S on the front of it because whatever goes down your toilet comes back to your tap.
Fair enough, Tim. Anything else you want to share here tonight?
Well, live free or die, man.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate that. And if anything happens with those businesses that are being fined, like if any of them actually stand up and fight it, please let us know, will you?
I hope they do.
Me too. Because the guy in North Michigan, the barber, the Carl Mankey, he did fight, and ultimately he was victorious, was he not? at the Supreme Court?
I believe he was.
Yeah, so there's some precedent there. People got to stand up. Thank you for the call tonight. I appreciate the heads up on that. And if you want to join us, you can. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE.
Yeah, gyms are hit really hard during this because you go there to sweat and breathe heavily.
Yep.
And that's not great. But imagine, gym owners out there, I know you're all like, yeah. Imagine what it's like for the martial arts studios, especially jiu-jitsu studios. I mean, not only are you there to sweat and breathe heavily, but you're there to do it while holding on to another human being.
Yep. Toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. We got full hour 3 on the way. You can take control of the airwaves. More lamification of everything coming up. This is Free Talk Live.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had gotten involved sooner? Well, now's your chance to be part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream, for everyone to use it in everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that's as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more, and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
A win for House Democrats. I'm Joe Chiaro, Fox News. The Democratic-controlled House in a rare Saturday session passed emergency funding for the Postal Service, even though the Postmaster General says it has enough money to operate effectively this year.
About 24 Republicans joined Democrats to advance a $25 billion funding boost for the U.S. Postal Service that also includes limits on changes to delivery operations.
What people say, well, it doesn't pay its own way. It's not a business. Is the service.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and top Democrats have accused the Trump administration of undermining mail service as states expand vote-by-mail options during the coronavirus. House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy dismisses that as a conspiracy theory.
This isn't voter suppression, it's routine maintenance.
The White House has signaled a veto threat.
Fox's Jared Halpern. California being ravaged by hundreds of wildfires across the state.
585 new fires have started since last Saturday, burning nearly 1 million acres across the state. The LNU Lightning Complex is now the second largest fire in the state's recorded history. It's burned more than 314,000 acres so far and spans across 5 counties, including Napa and Sonoma. It's only 15% contained. More than 100,000 people are under evacuation orders throughout the state because of these raging fires.
Fox's Christina Coleman. Additional resources from at least 10 states began arriving today to help crews struggling in heat and dry conditions. The fires are blamed for at least 6 deaths. Georgia has become the 10th state in the nation to report that it surpassed 5,000 COVID-19 deaths. Data kept by the Associated Press shows that coronavirus is spreading in Georgia faster per capita than any other state, although infection numbers have been declining. America is listening to Fox News.
For over 20 years, millions of customers have trusted Blinds.com to update their homes. Because Blinds.com makes it easy to get custom blinds that'll give your windows a high-end look without the high-end price. Whether you like to do it yourself, need help with design, or prefer measure and install services, they keep it simple with easy online ordering and free shipping right to your door. New window treatments are a simple way to really benefit the look and feel of your home. And Blinds.com will guide you every step of the way with free online design help. And if you're nervous about trying them, don't be. Blinds.com has over 30,000 5-star customer reviews, and they guarantee the perfect fit for your windows, whether you do it yourself or have them measure and install everything for you. Go to Blinds.com now to take advantage of this week's special savings on interior blinds, shades, shutters, and even outdoor shades. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Despite a recommendation from the state's governor, Pennsylvania youth sports will go ahead this fall.
The board of the Pennsylvania Interscholastic Athletic Association, which oversees the state's interscholastic sports, has decided to move forward with the fall season. It's notable because it marks the rejection of Governor Tom Wolf's recommendation that all youth sports be postponed until 2021 to help curb the spread of the coronavirus. The board had already delayed the start of fall sports because of that recommendation. The vote means that starting Monday, high school football, soccer, tennis, field hockey, and other fall sports will go on as planned. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
A Kansas City, Missouri cop is indicted on a felony assault charge for an incident last November. Fox's Chris DeMeo reports.
Sergeant Matthew Neal is accused of kneeing a 15-year-old boy on his neck and head, forcing his head into the pavement. Jackson County prosecutors saying the teen repeatedly said, "I can't breathe." That phrase has been a rallying cry for protesters since the death of George Floyd back in May. The teen was hospitalized for broken teeth and a gash on his head. Neal, an 18-year veteran, has been placed on administrative leave. Chris DeMeo, Fox News.
Police say a woman running for mayor in a South Carolina city faked her own kidnapping and beating in a Facebook post. Fox's Shannon Bream.
A political candidate in Sumter, South Carolina, along with an associate charged with faking her own kidnapping and beating. Sabrina Belcher allegedly staged the fake crime in an attempt to garner publicity and sympathy and ultimately votes in the upcoming election. The police say this was simply an effort to create disorder and discontent in our community for personal gain.
Police say Belcher provided a fake name for attacker. Vandals have scrawled graffiti denying the Holocaust on a wall in the village that was the site of France's biggest massacre of civilians by the Nazis during World War II. I'm Joe Chiro, Fox News.
It's the Onion Radio News. Teen sex is linked to alcohol and drugs by the Center for Figuring Out Really Obvious Things. This is Doyle Redland reporting. An exhaustive 4-year, $23 million study of substance abuse and sexual habits of more than 2,500 American teens has confirmed that young people between the ages of 13 and 18 who drink and or use drugs are more likely to be sexually active. Dr. Gerald Eckersley is director of the Boston-based organization.
We found that this phenomenon also occurs among adults as well as every population everywhere in the world that has ever existed since the dawn of time.
The center has sent a teleprompter-ready press release of its findings to more than 400 local TV news affiliates across the U.S., along with stock video footage of beer displays and teens smoking and drinking at parties. Doyle Redland for the Onion Radio News, online at theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. You can dial toll-free here and bring up anything you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms at discord.lrn.fm. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
The captain. And Mark.
So, kicking off here the third hour, of course, you're welcome to bring up anything you want. We've been talking about what few things that there are left to do around and about, because if you're in like New York State, you have almost nothing. They've banned comedy acts. They've banned anything except for non-ticketed music at local bars. You can't have ticketed music. You can't advertise the musicians.
So you can get like the one acoustic guitar playing, person,
right,
kind of thing. That's really about it.
And but you can't tell people that he's there.
Right. Exactly. So, and I don't know if, are they going to start going after customers who show up and immediately notate that, oh my God, James Hetfield is here from Metallica or whatever, and they send that out on their social media. We're at the watering hole here on Main Street, and there's this band here. Is that now going to be a crime to tell your buddies to come down to the bar because there's a band there?
But this would be a good time to take a page out of some bands that have done what I call guerrilla gigs. Right. There was a band out of Seattle called Quickie. I think they hold the world's record for most gigs in a day. But they would do, before they broke that record, they would do this thing where they would load up in their van and they would kind of have the drum kit set up in the van already. They would have a PA in there with some sort of, power source or running off an RV battery or something like that. And they would just pull up in front of wherever. And
in the parking lot.
Wherever, right? The side of the road, a sidewalk in the middle of downtown, big city, kind of thing. And they would just jump out of the van and the singer would jump out with a wireless mic and they would just perform a gig right there instantaneously. And then, as soon as they were done, they'd only play like a few songs, and then they get back in the van and
get out before the cops can show up,
and then head to the next place. I think now is the time for musicians to start doing more guerrilla gigs,
hit and run.
Yeah,
nice.
Go to these places where there are people, right? And maybe they used to have music, and then spontaneously entertain them by showing up in front of the place and putting on a spontaneous gig.
That's a great idea. More spontaneity is going to be needed here, just if for any other reason, to get around the enforcement, because eventually somebody's going to snitch. And the cops are going to come, and they're going to ruin everybody's fun. So let's talk about the 100% capacity. That sounds really good. Hey, restaurants in New Hampshire, which is where we live right now. In other states, your mileage may vary. Some states are not allowing restaurants to reopen. Some it's 25% capacity. Some it's 50% capacity. But finally, New Hampshire gets to 100% capacity across the whole state. According to WMUR, the restaurants are now able to open at 100% as long as they continue to follow reopening guidelines, including 6 feet distance between parties, said Governor Chris Sununu on Friday, also known as His Excellency. Previously, restaurants in 6 northern New Hampshire counties were able to operate at 100% capacity, but the southern counties were restricted to 50%. However, now since there have been no signs of increased coronavirus spread in those areas, that said allowed them to reopen at 100%. However, is it really 100% capacity if part of the rules state that you have to have distance between the parties?
It sounds like no.
I'm going to say if you're at quote 100% capacity, but yet you have to X out every other table because...
How could that be 100% capacity?
It's not.
Yeah.
It's a lie.
Yeah.
It's a very, very poor lie.
The change comes after News 9 reported that bar and restaurant owners were concerned about cooler weather ahead, making it impossible to continue outdoor seating. Restaurant owners said that without easing
if you're running a restaurant in Florida, you're going to do a lot better than if you're running a restaurant in Buffalo.
Yep. So they said they needed to have the indoor dining restrictions eased, Sununu, or else they wouldn't survive. Sununu said that if COVID-19 numbers begin trending worse in the state, the decision could be revisited, but a single outbreak would likely not lead to new restrictions. He said it would be possible to reimpose restrictions on certain counties.
Here's what I hear when you say that. I might allow you to do some of this, but remember,
I'm in charge.
I can bring this hammer down at any time.
Yeah.
Yep. That's exactly what he is saying. And it does, again, beg the question, have there been any bar owners or restaurateurs or any business owners at all who have actually been fined? I haven't heard about it out here. I did ask the police department. Now, this was back in May, so it probably should be done again, but I did it back in May, asking, all right, I want to get a Freedom of Information Act request. I want you to give me data information about any contacts that you've made officially, as far as like, have you given a written warning or any kind of written fine to any local businesses in Keene? Now, this was before the mask mandate, so I'm just talking about violations of the governor's orders, right? So, and what spurred me to do this was a local bar had received a written threat. Not a fine, but a threat that the fine was coming.
A stern letter.
Right, a threat that they could pull his license, a threat that he could be fined, a threat that he would be fined if he continued allowing people to, hang out on the porch without masks on. And I received surprisingly, it only took them a week. I expected they were going to delay more than 30 days. I figured I'd be waiting months before they'd give me any kind of response. Surprisingly, they got back to me within a week. And the only response I got was that one letter that they had written to that one business.
So they did fess up to the one.
They did.
Okay.
They did. And they wouldn't have necessarily known that I knew about that.
Right.
I didn't tip my hat that I was already aware that they'd done this once. So that was all they provided, was just that one letter. Now, again, this was back in May, so maybe there's been more since then. I certainly have heard stories of them threatening. I heard a story that they threatened a gym owner here in Keene. But that was a verbal threat, so there's no written evidence of that happening.
Right.
There may have been something in the call log for that particular day at that particular time, but as far as an actual written warning, they never got that far because that guy ended up just closing that business and moving it into an industrial zone where snitches would be less likely to see him letting customers into his business. So he just changed his business model because of those threats. So I think that the threats generally work. That business owners will cave if they were allowing their customers to get away with certain things. As soon as the threats start to heat up, they cave in and they just do what they're told. So I think we actually have not yet had anyone be brought a fine. I told one business owner who was worried about this, the guy that had the dance floor, who was told, again verbally by the Department of Health, that he was not to allow people to dance on his dance floor. So if you're a couple and you want to go out dancing, sorry, you can't do that. So I told him, hey, look, if you get one of these fines, I would like to take it to court.
Right.
I'll take it to court for you. I'm not an attorney or anything like that, but if you want to, you can authorize me and say, you are now the authorized representative of my business, and I authorize you to take this to court on my behalf. I think you could totally do that.
This headline that you have here, though, from WMUR saying something like
100% capacity. Is what this is.
Effective immediately, all New Hampshire restaurants can operate at 100 capacity. This is like saying if you are living in the United States of America, you are 100% free.
But it's just false.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, it's certainly better than 50% capacity, but it's still not freedom. It's still not the ability to choose.
It ain't North Korea either.
So, I mean, New Hampshire, as far as its, relative freedoms compared to other states, it's got a lot of wins. But as far as the crackdown on Corona and, the crackdown on business, it has not been the freest of states. It's been an embarrassment. And whether or not Sununu is actually going to be vulnerable, that's the current governor here in New Hampshire, in this election is a big question that remains to be seen. So I don't know. We're actually going to conduct a poll this week, and I'm hiring a polling company to actually ask the question that none of the polling companies have asked yet, which is to say, how are you going to vote in the primary? There have been no polls that have asked that question at all. And so our guy, Nobody, who is one of our co-hosts here on Free Talk Live, changed his name to Nobody, is running for governor, has been in no polls. Neither has the other lady who's challenging Sununu. All of the polls just presume Sununu's going to win, and then they ask questions like, well, if Sununu is up against Democrat A in the general election, for whom will you vote? And then they ask, if Sununu is up against Democrat B, the other Democrat candidate for the primary, for whom will you vote? So they're completely excluding the other challengers to Sununu from the Republican primary. There's more coming up here. It's Free Talk Live.
Do you want more businesses accepting Bitcoin Cash and Dash? Now with AnyPay, you earn passive income for every purchase at those businesses. Finally, a financial incentive to spread Bitcoin Cash and Dash. You made it happen, so you get the rewards. Download the AnyPay Cash Register app and add your cryptocurrency wallet addresses. Then install it at a real-life business and tell us what you did at AnyPayInc.com. AnyPayInc.com.
Maxwell, she was scratching and losing some hair. My vet, she says, oh, he must be allergic to chicken. Another vet said, it's the drain. Third vet said, it's the weather. Then somebody said, DINOVITE.com. It took 2 weeks, and the dog stopped itching, the hair stopped falling out. The Dinovite is a big part of Maxwell's diet.
You get some Dinovite, how happy your dog will be.
DINOVITE.com.
Got shaving irritation? Shave Secret shaving oil can help stop it. Shave Secret doesn't cost much and is an all-American product. My name is Chuck Howard, and I developed Shave Secret and pioneered its use starting back in 1991. Ingrown hairs drove me nuts for years. Shaving oil changed all that. Why put up with ingrown hair, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts? Shave Secret provides men and women with what we believe is the best shave ever. Our proprietary blend of 100% natural base and essential oils, plus a hint of menthol, was designed to help eliminate shaving irritations like ingrown hairs, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts. We'll lose those shaving irritations. Available at Super Walmart, H-E-B, Wegmans, Giant Eagle, Discount Drug, Navy and Marine Exchanges, Amazon, and ShaveSecret.com. Use the code FTL for Free Talk Live and get a discount. Shave Secret, the best shave ever.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything here. The toll-free number is 855-450. Free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms at discord.lrn.fm. Also, want to make sure you know about Intercoin. Just as the internet is a global network that connects local networks, Intercoin is a global currency platform that enables communities around the world to issue and manage their own currency to circulate among their local population. Intercoin enables fintech innovation on the local community level, leading to stronger communities, greater sustainability, less poverty, and more productivity. Intercoin is attempting to regain some of our freedoms that are threatened on the internet and in meat space. We think that's important here on Free Talk Live, so we accepted $40,000 worth of Intercoin tokens from Intercoin Incorporated for advertising. If you think freedom is important too, check out Intercoin at intercoin.org. You can invest in this project and potentially make big gains, or just be involved and perhaps shape its future. It's intercoin.org. With you tonight, it's Ian,
the captain,
and Mark.
All right, so we've been talking about the coronavirus response, the crackdown on freedom, the crackdown on business, and of course, yes, Mark?
Well, I was just preparing to say what I want to know from people is what marker, if you're in support of the sort of the lockdowns, the mask mandates, whatever it is, whatever you think is sort of acceptable intrusion in our lives from the state, what is the point at which we can return to normal? Is it nobody dies of corona ever on the planet?
Our co-host?
What's that?
No. Nobody our co-host?
Oh, no, I hate that.
Oh, sorry.
So I call him Pope Nobody to avoid disambiguation.
Okay. Sorry, my bad.
But it's a real word, and nobody means nobody. And so, yeah, the whole idea that somehow we're going to just go on with this new normal, everybody's wearing a mask over their face, this isn't good for us.
No, it's not.
It's not good for human beings to not be able to see other human beings' faces.
I'm so glad to hear you say that, because you were praising the masks not 2 weeks ago.
No, I like the idea that I can wear a mask out in public if that's what I wish. I think that's, I think people should be able to do that. And I don't think you could do that before from a social standpoint.
So you remember when this all began, they were like, we just need 2 weeks to flatten the curve, whatever it was. 2 weeks was what they said, right?
Yeah.
I saw an article today, I didn't bring it in for show prep, that it says, well, if we do everything right, we might be able to go back to normal in 2 years.
Yeah.
So how quickly it changes from 14 days to 24 months.
I think that people are just going to, at some point, just abandon all of this.
Really?
No, I don't think so.
It seems like mass compliance to me.
Yeah, in fact, I think it's going to go the other way, because we have a precedent for when this type of thing happens, and that is the advent of the TSA and all of that mumbo-jumbo post 9/11 stuff that they implemented, which still hasn't gone away.
Nope.
Yeah,
it was
right.
a permanent change. It was all supposed to be temporary, remember? It was all supposed to be temporary. Oh, we're only going to have these alerts for the first 6 months, right? The Patriot Act. Oh, it's only temporary. We have to renew this every year, and or we'll revisit it at the end of the year, and then it's renewed perpetually, right? So they've done all of this stuff. Politicians are not going to let this power grab go.
No, I don't think so either.
They're going. It will take kicking and screaming for them to let this go.
There's not enough kicking.
We are now in an advanced state of dystopia.
Well, okay.
Yeah,
I hear your avocation. However, the difference between what happened at 9/11 was a whole bunch of new government jobs were created. Basically, new union employees were kicked into place. Whereas right now, I don't know of any new jobs that have been created, no COVID jobs that have been created for the state. And basically, it's just a new set of rules, and nobody seems to like
a set of rules that is. Well, they're being obeyed in mass quantity with huge numbers of people who are seemingly welcoming these restrictions. I mean, again, remember Captain said 80% of the season ticket holders at the Green Bay Packers decided they were going to just stay home. I mean, that's dramatic numbers of compliance. And they didn't have to comply. They could have gone in, and done their socially distanced visit to the stadium, but they just chose not to go at all.
And I want to point out, too, I don't know if you've ever seen it, because you guys you pay a little more attention to actual politics than I do. I tend to ignore them because I think they're all bastards. But has there ever been a time in history when so many governors have been able to write things down with the swipe of a pen that are then considered law?
That are even paid attention to. I mean, your typical governor's orders are not even on the radar of the average person.
Right.
But now, all these governors have been able to get all kinds of attention for themselves. I mean, this guy in New York is on TV every single day or whatever, just yammering off about whatever BS that he's cramming down people's throats. Right. I mean, these people have made themselves more relevant in people's lives than they've ever been.
Yeah.
And not in a good way.
Right. So we saw the advent of the presidential order, right? He signs a thing and like it just happens, right? And that had never happened previously, that I'm aware of.
No, that's been going on for forever.
Well, right, but like they were very few and far between, and now the quantity of those increased. But now what we're seeing that being pushed down to the state level, where governors now have this executive order type of power,
which they've had,
right?
They've had that,
but they're using it now,
yes,
right, more frequently than they ever have, and simultaneously.
And they're not stopping. The emergency continues to be extended, so they have to keep reauthorizing,
kicking the can down the road. Right.
And it's similar in most of the states. Obviously, there's slight differences between them, but generally, the governor can declare a state of emergency, and that lasts for a certain set period of time. And then once that set period of time comes up, he then has to redeclare that the emergency is continuing, so he can keep the powers that the legislature has said that he may have. Right. So a lot of this is legislated.
A lot of this is constitutional. I mean, honestly, governors have much more power than, say, the president or a mayor. And if they can declare a state of emergency, they can do a lot of things.
Yeah, well, that's unfortunate, but it's probably true.
I mean, just consider, America, that we were all put under house arrest. We were quarantined, the first time in history, quarantining healthy people.
Mm-hmm.
Quarantined, we were put under house arrest with no habeas corpus rights. There was no ability to go to court and say, hey,
did anyone try?
I've been locked up. How could you? The court was closed.
That's true.
Yep. I've been locked up without a trial, without a body of evidence. The idea that this could occur in America is insane. And look, I get it. People were scared. People are scared. But that's not a reason. It never has been a reason to take other people's rights.
In my opinion, it's not going to stop. It's only going to continue to increase.
Right. I don't believe the claim that it's going to end after the election. There have been people saying that. That's bunk.
If you follow history and you compare empires and their rise and demise, right? It's my opinion that we are on the downside of the empire known as the United States of America.
That's a question that I have had for some time. Ladies and gentlemen, is the United States still on the rise as far as its shining star, or is it fading now? Have we reached the pinnacle of whatever the United States was in history?
Yeah.
Is it on its way down? How long does it have?
And when was the pinnacle?
And when was the pinnacle?
Yeah, it's a good question. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. Make a note. Let's ask that again.
Yeah.
Coming up here in moments. Give people a chance to ruminate on that. You can call in and answer it or bring up whatever's on your mind. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And if it is on the decline, how fast before it's all over?
I did say when.
Yeah. 855-450-FREE. It's Free Talk Live.
News from news.bitcoin.com. Chinese banks limit customers' ability to buy gold. Chinese flooding and potential dam collapse threatens many Bitcoin operations. Withdrawals from crypto exchanges increase, indicating perhaps more people are holding their coin for themselves. Tentative agreement met to stabilize Bitcoin Cash mining in conjunction with the currency's third birthday. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies, getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com. Divi's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divi's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to diviproject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from diviproject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. diviproject.org. D-I-V-I project.org.
I just heard the best sales pitch I've heard in a long time on an airplane. The flight attendant announced, "If you paid more than $75 for your round-trip ticket, you overpaid." This is brilliant because everybody on the flight paid more, and I was struck by how all the road warriors stopped typing and reading and working and looked up. The announcement invited us to apply for the airline's credit card. And the sign-up bonus? Enough frequent flyer miles for a free round trip. Talk about turning lemons into lemonade. With some banks offering free credit cards, $75 is an outrage for an annual fee, but a bargain for airline tickets. For more tips on communicating more effectively, hit survivalspeech.com, where you can see how I got the CEO of another major airline to shower me with freebies. I'm Holland Cook.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live.
A GoPro camera that's costs $300 is better than a Taser-made camera.
Yeah, so there are other competitors in the marketplace, and they weren't given a chance to even bid on that. I mean, that's good old boy cronyism, isn't it? You support that?
Are you opposed to free enterprise?
I am for free enterprise. I am against no-bid contracts. You see, free marketplaces have competition so that we find out if products are superior or not. In an area where you have no-bid contracts, you'll never find out what's better. You said that there was no coercion here.
Making the purchase can make that decision for themselves.
No, they cannot, because they're taking my tax money at the threat of my home. You said there was no coercion, and I will remind you that they will kick me and my family out on the street if I don't pay property taxes. To suggest that this money belongs to the police chief is just the kind of boot-licking that takes this country into fascism.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM. Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, the live Saturday edition of the show. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. If you want to join us, you can bring up anything you want, or you can answer the question that, Mark, you asked just a moment ago about, is the United States in the decline of a nation?
Well, is it on the rise or the decline?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's, are we at the pinnacle?
It would be hard to say this was a rise because, I mean, there's definitely, at least in the moment, a serious decline in the economy going on. So it would be hard for anybody, I think, to argue that this is still part of whatever the rise might have been.
Well, you could make the claim that the whole world is suffering, the United States is suffering less. So I don't think that's the case necessarily, because basically you can't travel to the rest of the world as the United States. So it's not the greatest year to be an American citizen. You can't you can't travel to Europe. But if I were to answer my own question,
which was what?
Are we on the rise or are we on the wane as far as the United States' empire? I know we don't want to use that term, but if we're looking at
I'll use that term.
Great civilizations over time, we can see they rise and they fall. There's usually a point where you can say, this is it, Caesar crossed the Rubicon, or whatever the situation might be.
But you usually only know that after the fact, right? Hindsight being 20/20.
Right. I'm asking people to be amateur historians and kind of, hey, what do you think we're at? If I were to answer my own question, I would say that likely just basically the end of World War II would be the pinnacle of the U.S.'s sort of growth and situation. Or maybe...
Wasn't that right after a Great Depression, though?
Sure, but at that point, the rest of the world was smoking rubble. If you looked at basically every place else that could manufacture a washing machine, right? They all were on fire. One of them was glowing from having 2 atomic bombs dropped on it. And I'm not sure Japan was even that mature of an economy.
So you're saying that at that point, the U.S. began to decline?
I think that somewhere in there, right, in that, let's call it the 40s, late 40s, the United States is at its pinnacle, and that it began its slow decline after that.
If I were to answer your question, I would say it's whenever the money went away from being backed by gold. And I mean,
that was the 70s.
I mean,
right?
functionally went away, so it's well before that.
Oh, you're talking about like the 30s or whatever.
Yeah. So that might be right in the same time frame, Mark. I'm not certain.
Let's go to your calls and your thoughts. The toll-free number if you want to join us, 855-450-FREE. Bill is in Erie, Pennsylvania, and you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead, Bill.
Hey, good morning. If I could
just ask you a quick question, then a comment on what I think of the decline of
yes, please.
American. Hey, I watched the Democratic debates. Did you fellas watch it?
I'm so sorry.
You mean the National Convention?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And I kind of dozed in and dozed out quite a bit. But, you know, fellas, one thing I observed, as much bashing as they did against Donald Trump, I don't recall anybody bringing up the fact that he was impeached. Am I right or wrong?
I wouldn't be able to tell you one way or the
other. I
paid
zero attention to the Democrats, and I will pay zero attention to the Republicans when they have their little convention.
Well, a couple of my friends said, and I was really kind of shocked because that was one of the only things they had got accomplished. Nancy Pelosi made it very clear he's impeached forever. But, boy, they just stayed – I think they stayed away from it because they would have had to start explaining why the hearings, the Horowitz report came out and said there was no evidence, and all those Democrats raised their hand saying there was no evidence. The same people that are on late-night talk shows out there saying there was, during those hearings they weren't. So, fellas, I think they stayed away from them. They stayed away from that.
If they stayed away from it, they stayed away from it on purpose.
Mm-hmm. I think they would have rubbed it in.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been an accident. Nobody for the course of 3 days at the Democratic National Convention mentioned the impeachment. So if they stayed away from it, and I don't know, but if they did it on purpose.
So, Bill, what's your answer as far as the American rise and decline?
Well, fellas, I've been going on a local channel a lot, and I've been saying, hey, folks, we better start paying attention, and instead of just getting hung up on and called a conspiracy theorist after they hang up on you, we better start asking the question, why does our dollar bill have a pyramid on the back?
Hang up on him.
Nubis Ortus Florum written on it.
We don't do that.
Which means New World Order.
Mm-hmm.
It's on there for a reason, and I'm not the one that put it on there, so I hope you don't.
I don't know if you answered the question. I mean, those are interesting questions that you've asked, but didn't answer Mark's question about whether you think America is in decline or still reaching toward its peak. What do you think about that?
Okay. I think the world is in decline, fellas. I think the Bible also tells us that the last world order, a day's wage for a loaf of bread. If we keep borrowing trillions and trillions of dollars every 3 months, come on, we all know Jesus said that last kingdom is going to be a raiser of taxes as well. If you read the Word of God in the book of Daniel, chapter 10 talks about the raiser of taxes in that last. And then Jesus warns us, fellas, that last kingdom, you won't be able to buy or sell without a mark. We're going to a cashless society. I mean, they're using the COVID-19 virus to say they want to track us.
Yep, there's definitely a lot of concerning things that are happening out there. I don't know if Jesus predicted all of it, but I definitely appreciate the concern. And thank you for the call tonight, Bill. Mark, you look like you wanted to respond to that.
I'm deciding whether I want to say anything or not.
Okay. You had that look, though.
Yeah. Well, here's what I got to say. I really
As a former
wish,
Christian who went to Christian school.
Sure, I'll call myself a Christian now. I don't care about the labels in particular. I mean, do I believe that there's an afterlife? Yes. Do I believe that there's a God? Yes. Do I believe that it would have been really nice of God if when he visited Earth to have, I don't know, written down the functional rules of humanity for us? That would have been really awesome. Instead of having them dictate, having them put down by people who knew his disciples decades later. The idea that I might be sent to hell to burn because somebody wrote down what somebody said about what Jesus said. I mean, I find that a little weird. If the Bible is there to talk about rules of conduct, God could have scribbled that stuff out in a few pages while he was here for 33 years. Mm-hmm. And that would have been really nice. Wash your hands after your poop. Don't claim to own people as slaves. Whatever. Punching people in the face for no reason is evil. Whatever the set of rules are that we put in place. I mean, because the Bible was not clear on slavery. It was not clear even on hygiene.
Let's go to more of your calls and thoughts. Charlie's in Alamogordo, New Mexico. You're on Free Talk Live. Charlie.
Hey, guys, it's me again.
Hey, Charlie.
I talked to you before about that Border Patrol agent thing and the state police officer gives me a ticket. But nonetheless, I want to answer your question first.
Yeah.
About the rise and decline. I think we've been in decline.
Since when?
It's just that since when? Since about 9/11. Truly, since 9/11, it really has.
Okay. I think that's a good point.
As far as turning people amongst each other, as far as neighbor against neighbor, and making us think that there's a terrorist next door and all this other bullshit.
Oh, we can't have you saying that on the radio. That's too bad. He was saying interesting things.
Yeah, I know it's easy to get worked up, and I've made the faux pas, but we can't have that.
But I do agree with where he was coming from. I think that he's making a strong argument that 9/11 was a huge turning point in a bad way for the United States. Now, there wasn't a whole lot of economic disaster that came as a result of that, like there is now, but it was definitely a turning point in that people accepted a lot bigger government, and that the government got a heck of a lot more invasive into our lives. And as he was pointing out, people are afraid of each other because of 9/11, and now even worse than 9/11. It used to be that they were afraid of brown people or men with turbans or somebody with a Middle Eastern accent, and that was bad. Yeah. But now it's even worse. Now they're afraid of absolutely everyone that comes within 6 feet of them, even their neighbors.
Their own family.
Yeah, and in some cases, their own family. And it's just so sad. I mean, you got kids who aren't able to see their grandparents in the hospital as they're on their deathbed. I mean, it is just... Yeah, it's bad. 855-450-FREE. That's the toll-free number here. If you want to answer the question about, is America in decline? At which point did it begin declining? How much more time do we have left? Now, that's, of course, impossible to really know because sometimes things crumble much faster than anticipated. All I can do is hope that that's the case here and that Trump's the last president we'll ever have.
Silver has always been nature's very own antibiotic, and only one system allows you to generate an endless supply of natural silver solutions. SilverLungs.com. You'll find no wild claims or pseudoscience, just a lifetime of nano-sized pure silver solutions. The Silver Lungs generator allows you to make your own, so stop paying for silver solutions. The unique lung delivery system targets respiratory infections where other silver solutions simply cannot reach. See the Silver Lungs generator and lung delivery system at SilverLungs.com. That's SilverLungs.com.
Attention radio listeners, have you ever wanted to be independent of the utility companies and actually generate your own supply of off-grid electrical power? If so, this is going to be the most important message you'll ever hear. Here's why. A limited number of solar-powered backup generators are back in stock and now available. These emergency backup systems provide life-saving electrical power when you need it most. And unlike gas generators, a solar generator runs quietly, emits no fumes, and produces an endless supply of free electricity from the sun. It's like having an electric power plant running silently, secretly in your own home. Run sump pumps, shortwave radios, computers, even keep food from spoiling. Go to mysolarbackup.com to learn more. That's mysolarbackup.com. Supplies are still limited and are available on a first-come, first-served basis only. mysolarbackup.com.
Have you ever thought about turning your Glock, XD Family, or 1911 handgun into a semi-automatic carbine? It only takes about 30 seconds. The MacTech Carbine Upper is classified as an accessory and can be delivered right to your doorstep with no FFL or background check required. It's the world's most versatile pistol accessory. Build your custom upper today. Simply go to handgunconversion.com. That's handgunconversion.com.
The political world is a maddening cesspool of corruption and lies. Nobody tells the truth. Nobody keeps campaign promises. Nobody obeys the Constitution. Nobody puts the people first. How can we ever escape this web of tyranny? Vote for nobody.
Hi, my name is Nobody. I'm running for governor of New Hampshire because nobody knows how to live your life better than you do, and nobody deserves that kind of power. I want to put you back in control of your money, your lifestyle, your work, your body, and your life. Nobody should rule you but you. New Hampshire convicts many people of so-called crimes that should never have been prosecuted. If elected, I will pardon every victimless crime in New Hampshire history. This includes drug, gambling, prostitution, gun, and driving offenses. Nobody should have a criminal record when they have not harmed anybody.
Wouldn't it be nice to have nobody telling you what to do? Learn more at electnobody.com. electnobody.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
Do you want more businesses accepting Bitcoin Cash and Dash? Now with AnyPay, you earn passive income for every purchase at those businesses. Finally, a financial incentive to spread Bitcoin Cash and Dash. You made it happen, so you receive the rewards. Download the AnyPay Cash Register app and add your cryptocurrency wallet addresses. Then install it at a real-life business and tell us what you did at AnyPayInc.com. AnyPayInc.com.
Live video of our key New Hampshire-based shows is streamed on DLive. Please follow and share at dlive.lrn.fm. That's dlive.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can take control of the airwaves here. You can bring up anything that you want. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. Jump into any one of those. You'll sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio with us. And we do this thing 7 nights a week, by the way, so you get all kinds of opportunities. If you don't get in tonight, you can just call tomorrow, or the next day, or whatever it is that you want to express yourself. With you here, it's Ian,
the captain,
and Mark.
Don't forget, you can follow us on a few different social medias, such as, let's see, we got Mastodon, which is the alternative to Twitter. It's the decentralized alternative, federated alternative. You can go to toot.freetalklive.com, follow our Mastodon profile there. That's T-O-O-T, toot.freetalklive.com. We also have our Telegram channel. The same content is posted on all these things that I'm going to tell you about here, so whichever one's your preference. Telegram.freetalklive.com. Telegram, one of the most popular chat apps on the planet. Kudos to them. They just added video conferencing ability, so you can now have a video chat with your friend or loved one or total stranger or whatever you want to do there on Telegram. Great little app. Telegram.freetalklive.com. Follow our channel there. And for those of you that are still on Twitter, we do still have an account. They may take it down. You never know. But while it's there, you can find it at twitter.freetalklive.com. We've been talking about the rise and the decline of the United States. Don't think it can't happen here. It happens to all so-called nations eventually. Question is, when's it going to happen, or did it already occur?
I mean, again, I believe that we are in the midst of the decline.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but I concur with that the peak has been reached.
And you guys are saying it was around the 30s or the 40s, basically?
It was either, well, economically speaking, I believe that it was before the creation of the Federal Reserve, which would have been, pre-1913. So, 1890, somewhere around the turn of the century, something along, economically speaking.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that because of Rome, right? If you want to look at something to compare it to, it's always the currency, right? When Rome started shaving little bits off their coins and, making their money worth less, inflating it,
Mm-hmm.
counterfeiting, all that kind of thing. That's kind of the sign of their decline, economically speaking. So that's why I point to that particular time frame.
Yeah, usually they clipped coins. The government would clip coins, and then the shaving was done by unscrupulous people.
Right.
But anyway,
other unscrupulous people.
Non-official unscrupulous
Mm-hmm.
people. Yeah, so I had previously taken like the late 40s. Basically, the United States emerges from World War II. The rest of the world is smoking rubble, and that the United States is the big boy on the block. I think in conversation during the break with the captain here that I may want to retract that. So competition in all arenas makes the competitors better, and the state, even though it is an inefficient organization, is made better by a competitive state. There were two superpowers from the 40s through the 90s, the early 1989 basically.
Mm-hmm.
And I do believe the United States was made better. So like they put a man on the moon post
World
War II. Well, whatever. Okay. They make a claim, and the vast majority of people believe that they put a man on the moon. As to whether or not that's true, I do not care to argue about it. But
what the hell else did they do better, though? I mean, in that case, there was a direct competition between those two entities to get to the moon or whatever, or to do space racy things.
Well, I mean, it's something that no government has ever achieved before or since. Mm-hmm. And that in of itself is a pretty impressive thing that they did. So I may want to say that the peak is the fall of the Berlin Wall. And essentially
so 1989.
That time from 89 to 2001 when the World Trade Center is struck. Mm-hmm. And what you now have is a decentralized state, terrorism, right? Mm. So a state is an organization that rules by threat of violence.
Yeah.
The reason that that law-abiding citizens will tell you that you need the state is because not them, but everybody else will, revert to a Hobbesian state.
Mm-hmm.
If
state of nature,
state of nature. If we simply don't have this, right? They're gonna kill my grandma or whatever the claim is. And
government is bad, but the alternative is worse, is what they would have you believe.
Right. So government institutionalizes violence, monopolizes violence, and says this is where we are the violence, mm-hmm. and if you are violent, we will be violent against you. And then they say, not only can we stop violence, but we can get a bunch of money, and we can make everybody listen to all the ridiculous crap we say, and then they realize what they've got, right? And mm-hmm. and obviously this happens along the way. So when essentially what terrorism is a decentralized government. Mm-hmm. I mean, the reason that they couldn't rout out the Islamic State or Al Qaeda or whomever because it was an idea, it wasn't an organization. They took out Iraq in a couple of days.
Yeah.
But they couldn't. It took them decades to rout out, these criminals that are just a handful of religious nuts out there that were causing all this problem. And mm-hmm. they'd have you believe right now, if it wasn't for the fear surrounding COVID, they'd have you believe that these religious nuts are still causing all kinds of problems. And maybe they are. I have no idea. Mm. So I think that a centralized state, is falling to sort of decentralized notions. Decentralization mm-hmm. and disruption are occurring in every marketplace at faster and faster rates. We're getting technological boosts all the time as human beings.
Sure.
And I think that the very concept of a centralized, powerful state is at risk today.
Thank goddess. It's about time.
Well,
and you're right. It is the decentralized tools like Bitcoin, for instance, that are helping.
But I want it to morph in a orderly and peaceful fashion. I'm not looking for an
history of the world
collapse.
Suggests that it won't be that way, but it'd be nice.
I kind of feel like, and I think I've said this on the show before, that when the United States of America does break up or whatever it is, that it's going to look a lot like what happened in the former Soviet Union.
Well, I guess I should study that a little more.
Except we're not starving as much, right? Like there's not.
Right, but I mean, as far as what happens, right? Mm-hmm. They had already sort of governments, right? So everything just sort of went down to the next level, right? So I could easily see every state becoming its own independent nation.
Once again,
as it was planned to be, but everything just sort of reduced. The federal government dissolves. Maybe nice? A couple of states get together and form a new state, or maybe some states will break into different sections and become their own thing or whatever. A couple of those things might happen, I think. But by and large, the most comfortable thing I think for people to do, and the reaction would be to just be like, oh well, instead of being a state as part of a union, now we're just our own country.
That would be the easiest thing, and I hope that it goes that direction. Let's go to the phones. Walter is on the line in Daytona Beach listening to WNDB. Go ahead, Walter.
Hi, good evening.
Hey.
I'd like to try to take a crack at your question.
Yes, please.
I think you're on the right track. I believe that I'm almost 60 years old, so I got a few years on you, but
just a few.
When I believe that again, only opinion, but I believe the decline began when competition started to arise throughout the rest of the world.
What kind of competition?
At the end of well, the end of World War II, we were the last, man standing, if you will.
Yep.
You couldn't make a washing machine anywhere really but the United States, at least at a good price point. And after that, I remember when I was a kid and I was looking at Life magazine, I was looking at a picture of people from China. I think it was like right around 1970, 1968, right around the time of the Apollo launching for the moon. And I asked my mom, I go, why are they plowing that field with an ox? And Mom, I asked my mom that.
Mm-hmm.
She says, because they're an agrarian society. I go, what? I know what that meant. I go, well, I don't understand. She goes, well, they're not developed like we are. And that I'll never forget that. And now, we for the sake of the stock market, we packaged everything up. You take a company, you tear it down, you lay out a 3-inch pad of concrete, 10,000 square feet, put up an aluminum building or steel building with some insulation in it, and then send all your tool and die equipment overseas, and you start making stuff. Well, after about 10, 15 years of that, they start copying it. So we gave everyone else kind of a head start. It's a natural decline. It's a natural progression of things. Nothing lasts forever.
Walter, I want to say thanks for the call. We're out of time for tonight, and it's an interesting theory.
Yeah,
I don't know if I agree with it, because I think that if America were free, competition wouldn't be a problem, because we could outcompete. We'd be nimble. We'd be quick. We'd be whipping their butts. But America's not free, and so we've been crushed by government regulations, which is why outsourcing and things like that happen in the first place. But out of time tonight. See you tomorrow online. In the meantime, you can join us at freetalklive.com. Have a great weekend.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had got involved sooner? Well, now is your chance to be a part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream for people to use it for everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that is as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
My name is Jacob Hornberger. I'm president of the Future of Freedom Foundation, which Congressman Ron Paul awarded for having an outstanding freedom website. Write us at fff@fff.org, and we'll send you a free 3-month subscription to our monthly journal of libertarian essays and our booklet, Economic Liberty in the Constitution, which George Mason University economics professor Walter Williams praised in a recent column. That's fff@fff.org.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
The latest episode of Questioning Authority is next after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Passes as expected. I'm Joe Chiro, Fox News. House lawmakers have approved an emergency funding bill for the Postal Service.
The $25 billion measure also rolls back changes made this year to mail service operations and requires ballots be treated as first-class mail.
You ought to vote for it because you want everybody to vote. You want everybody to participate in this democracy.
House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer, but Republican Leader Kevin McCarthy says changes at the Postal Service are routine, and the Postal Service does not need the emergency funding.
They do not need because in the CARES Act we gave them another $10 billion to sit there. They do not need because they said they could deliver every piece of mail.
The White House has signaled a veto threat to the spending bill.
Fox's Jared Halpern. A California court orders President Trump to pay legal fees to the porn actress who fought a non-disclosure agreement.
The NDA was apparently signed by Stormy Daniels days before the 2016 election. It contained the deal that the loser of the case would pay the other's legal fees. Lawyers for the president are disputing Daniels' victory. They also deny the president was part of the agreement made under the name David Dennison. That's a fake name the president is said to have used on occasion. Daniels also sued the president for defamation.